Hi, everyone, and welcome back to episode number 67 of the Couch on Ice podcast. I'm your host, Rhylan, and before we get in some really interesting all-star talk, we got a really cool off-season kind of trade being done to silence some fans that are questionable a lot of the time. But before we get into all that fun hockey news, I'll throw it over to the boys. I'll throw it over to Chase. What have you been up to the past few days, Chase?
Oh, well, just canoeing around through the snow, just keeping it real. Not much. That wind came in and brought like minus 30 for
felt like
a day or two
straight.
So
it was awful, man. The one day we decide to go get groceries and it's freezing and it's cold out.
Yeah, exactly. It's getting nice today, so I might go hit the old ODR. Well, I might go check and see if it's worth hitting.
Yeah. That'd be awesome.
Well, yourself, what are you up to? Just sitting around looking at the ceiling or what?
I'm basically staring at a screen my whole life. It feels like all I do is look at hockey numbers this week.
Oh yeah,
I looked
screen to screen for me.
Yeah, just a teaser for later. We did a big trade that we'll discuss, and I looked for 2 days straight at teams and couldn't decide about a trade. It was awful. So I hope you guys enjoy the segment we have to close out the podcast because it's really fun. But
because I wasted fucking like
hours
for no reason.
I wasted like 3 hours sitting at my computer just clicking on different teams like nope, not them. Nope, not them. So yeah, that's been my week. What about you, Jordan? Did you get stuck doing some insane research on these trades?
Yeah, pretty much the same. I've spent a while working on these trades, and honestly, like I figured out my main trade pretty quick. It was figuring out the other trades that took me a bit.
Yeah, no doubt.
And figuring out like the RFAs and all that shit.
Oh yeah, the RFAs suck. But I was like, for me, it was the main trade because I couldn't find one where I'm like, I knew I wasn't gonna win it, the trade, but I was like, I don't even know one where I can come close to making it fair. So yeah, you guys will see how that goes. You'll probably shit on us, but that's kind of the intent on the segment. I got some other small, cool, interesting news. Chase, you don't know this guy, but Jordan knows him quite well. Britt, he's our British soccer coach or friend from Moose Jaw, Jordan and I's. Guess what he says he's going to learn to do because he's moving up to Leduc? He's going to learn to play hockey and skate and play rec hockey.
Nice.
Now, what makes this super funny and interesting for Jordan and I is obviously, like I mentioned, he's from Britain. He has never wore a pair of skates in his life. He's played ball hockey. Like he's played ball hockey a few times, but that's about it. So we're going to teach him how to skate these next few years and see how that goes. I just thought it was kind of interesting.
Hilarious.
Yeah, super funny. Like, soccer coach shits on hockey all the time is going to get made fun of by us a lot. But should be fun. But should we dive into the games, boys?
Yeah.
Yeah? All right.
Yeah.
Chase, why don't you kick it off? Yeah, we're gonna change this format out a little bit, so hopefully it flows.
Yeah, I'm gonna hit you with some highlights quick. Kind of just give you some random, quick little notes on some games.
Zoomy highlights. Highlights.
Yeah. Super speed. I am
turn the speed up to 2 times.
Like Lightning McQueen would say.
I am speed.
Ka-chow.
So the highlights I'll start off with Montreal versus Dallas. Montreal winning 5-3.
Surprise.
Temblio.
Love
Big
it.
man in net, lighting it up. Jacob Peterson bats it in from the slot, gets a goal, and Michael Pezzetta gets to spit one off his chiclets and in the net. Good game. Like I said, Montreal takes the win. Let's kick it over to in a 3-1 win over the Sens. The Sabres release their new inappropriate TV series, Touching Cousins, starring on Fox. No, hey, I was worried about it. Snapping.
That doesn't sound good.
No, it doesn't. That was kind of the point.
That sounds so disturbing. Could be worse.
It could be a lot worse.
The worst
Could have
part
made
is
it a lot worse.
Worst part is we actually are cousins.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh fuck. Okay, sorry.
Lots of
Continue.
twists, boys. Lots of twists on that one.
Super speed. Anyways, go.
Super speed. Snapping a 4-game win streak, the Flames extinguished the Red Hot Panthers after they won 8 of their last 9 games. So,
quick question on
maybe
this
the
game:
Flames
was it in Calgary?
Wow, I don't remember. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was in Calgary. That makes sense. Florida sucks away.
Yeah, because it was Sam Bennett's first game back in Calgary.
Yeah, he scored a goal too so I don't even have to say that later. So that's super cool.
Mr. Mustache.
Mr. Mustache, man. Shouldn't have traded him away, I guess, because it's awesome. No, just a couple high-flying games. I'm going to jump in with a couple here, too.
Actually, wait, before, I don't know if you've said this or if any of us have said this. Apparently, he did not know he was going to get traded. Like, he asked for a trade. But
really?
later on, when they got Sutter in, he was I thought things were going pretty well, and, like...
Well, I bet they were.
And then I got traded, so, like...
He should have stayed. Like, he's really good on an interceptor, I think.
Well, but who knows, right? He wasn't performing for Calgary.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, but new coach, like, that's his coach, right? The way he plays. Well, obviously after insight,
also if you ask for a trade and things start going well, maybe bring it up to your
go to your GM and be like, know what, things are smoothing it over, and I might want to stay.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's a little bit on him. I don't think he's complaining anymore. He's on the best offensive team, arguably we've seen ever. So
I think he's enjoying the weather. And
exactly. So, anyways, I'm gonna jump into my super speed review of games. We got the Caps and Jets. Lots of interesting stuff happening, but the main point of it, Ovi scores yet another goal. Cole Perfetti scoring his first career NHL goal. It was an absolute snipe on Vanacek, and Orlov being a very, very dirty boy, kneeing Nikolai Ehlers. That one didn't look very good. That hurt.
He got suspended 2 games. I don't know.
It was not like intentional.
Yeah, it wasn't intentional, but he did hit the knee. So
and he didn't make any effort to get out of the way. That's my biggest issue. So,
but you could tell that he was going for a check. He wasn't going for something.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah,
like it wasn't just him going to knee a guy. That's
no.
Sure.
So I think
it was pretty much
fair. Yeah. He hit the knee. You need to be careful, but at the same time, it's not like 5 games necessary.
It could have been 1. It probably could have been 1, and I would have been happy, or like kicked out of the game, like however which way you want to go about it. I think that's fair.
I like to bring up the fact that maybe they would do the whole he's out as long as the guy's injured, unless like the guy's like broke his leg or popped his knee out and he's out for like a month or something. But like, at least do that in like maybe 4 games or 3 games at max or something like that if he's out for a longer period of time, because in all reality you did something.
Injuries are
it was a dumb play. We're not really saying you're a terrible person, Orlov. It wasn't like you meant to, but if he's going to be out for the next 4 games, I guess you made that fate. Like I think I'd be okay with him with them doing a suspension like that, but I don't know if they'll ever do.
I don't know.
Bigger news though, the Caps won it in overtime. This has never happened this year.
Yeah, they never win in overtime. Is this your first OT win?
Yes.
Really?
Wow, that's insane. Got it real quick too. Yeah, no, definitely a good game to watch. You missed out if you didn't watch this one.
Yeah, good game.
I got one more, and proving that Priuses are better than Lambos. Carolina slaughter the Bruins 7-1. The biggest point of this game was, well, you can talk about 2 different ones, whether it's the 5 goals in the first period, whether it's Trocheck and the Hurricanes battling on Twitter with Brad Marchand comparing Trocheck's stats, and then and Marchand saying he's a Lambo and Trocheck's a Prius, and then after the game, Trocheck comes out and says the L stands for Lambo. Which was hilarious. I got a good laugh on that. So it's always fun watching the Bruins eat their own mouth or eat their own hand. Like, it's so funny watching them just get wrecked by a team. But no, this Carolina team.
Bad news. Tuukka Rask did not look good.
Yeah, no kidding. After a really comfortable 3-2 win, gets absolutely shelled.
Yeah, hey, it's pretty crazy. We're just getting like the random blowout games all of a sudden in the last little bit.
I think over COVID,
Florida
offense has gotten better, and they've forgotten how to defend.
Exactly.
No doubt.
Like,
Yeah,
but-
like the Panthers winning 9-2 and
Yeah.
like the Blue Jackets winning like 6 or 9-0 the game before.
Oh yeah. Yeah, like it's these random teams too sometimes getting these big blowouts like Columbus and such. So yeah, lots of goals this year. So
Yeah, wow.
But those are my two speed games to review. Chase, do you have any more before we get into more in depth about some games?
No.
No? Cool, then I'll throw it over to Jordan. Since you haven't heard his him talk as much yet today.
My
Let's throw it to you.
voice
Yeah,
much
your
today.
beautiful voice talk. So why don't you discuss one of the games you watched? Which one was that?
That would be the Buffalo versus Ottawa game.
Sweet. What was the score of that one?
It ended 3-1, and you know what? It was a
3-1 Buffalo.
wicked game from 3-1 Buffalo, I should say. Michael Hauser came back for his first game of the season. 43 saves.
Man, I love this kid. He's been just like such a good story for the Sabres for a year now.
Yeah.
So
especially a Sabres team that's desperately needed lots of goalies.
We need a healthy goalie. And we mentioned last episode too, Chase and I, like, who's the goalie? Is it Dell? No, it might be Hauser, and it was. So love to see it. Love to see it. You continue.
Yeah,
what else did you see?
Absolutely fantastic performance from him. Alex Tuch looked wicked good.
Man, he looked so good as a Sabre. He's so good. I love that. That was such...
He was a perfect. They definitely marketed well with who they brought in for Eichel.
Definitely.
Right. They knew that they weren't in a good position.
They weren't going to win that trade.
With some ties, exactly, right?
So,
and just getting somebody who'd actually be okay with staying was big.
That's huge. So I love that.
Yeah, like in all reality, like let's just pretend Eichel just has sort of an injury prone rest of his career, like not always healthy.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like in all reality, Buffalo could win this trade. Like
if Krebs becomes a top, if Krebs is a top 6 guy, and and Tuch is
they have another pick here, I believe. So yeah, it's nice to. That's why they make trades like this, because you get 3 pieces that work, not just having one guy. Obviously, Arizona's literally looking for that supersonic guy because they haven't been able to get that guy.
You need 1 or 2 at least.
You do need
right?
One,
like Buffalo's got some in the pipeline coming up. Like there's a lot that have potential. Like Jack Quinn, Dylan Cousins, stuff like that.
Yeah, and they have this potential draft. Like this top 10 is going to be pretty good. So I guess they have Power. Power could be
Power. We haven't even brought up Power. He's there.
In all reality, I don't know. I think this team's fine. Like with the talent they have. Like I've said quite a few times, I'm really excited for the second half of the season, and I hope this is a start to it because
I'm excited.
This team's healthy, man. This is a good team. Skinner's been way better than he has been in past times. Like I even said about Obkoso a while back, like he's getting it done. He's not fast. Not fast, but he's getting it done out there.
Really good at killing penalties. I noticed that especially in this game against Ottawa. Like Ottawa had 5 power plays and they didn't do shit with them.
I've noticed that this year that power plays have not looked good at all for the most part. Like other than the Oilers, like just red hot off the start, like power plays been pretty rough. So it's making penalty killing better. But anything else? What do you got on the Ottawa side of things there, Jordan? Anything?
It wasn't a good game for Ottawa. That's
a bad
the most
season.
I could say. Like it wasn't awful. I will say the referees were wish-washy the whole game for both teams.
At least
sometimes
it's even.
that happens.
Absolutely. It's human error. Like I don't want to give refs too much grief. Like you give it to them when they need it, but it is their job. Everyone fucks up at their job. Like
the only goal that was kind of suspect was just the Jankowski goal, the second goal there. But otherwise, I think it was definitely a Buffalo win. You could tell that the whole game.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, Buffalo's higher in the standings, which we wouldn't have thought coming into the season. So.
Yeah, I wouldn't have picked that.
Not in a million years. So, well, maybe in a million years, but not in 1,000 years. But good game. Love seeing that Hauser kid come up, only letting 1 goal in. How many saves did you say? 40?
43 saves.
43? Damn, that's awesome.
Yeah,
What's it with these
9.77.
random bottom feeder teams just have these goalies coming up, just make 40 saves?
Yeah, that just make 40 saves and a nutty win.
And just be the bee's knees. Like, love those kids. Awesome.
Yeah, way better than them, like, failing miserably. That always is just so heartbreaking.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, watching them get shelled like 9 for 9.
Yeah. Like, it's fine if it's like your third or fourth game or something, but like the first game, like,
yeah, you want to see
everybody show up for this game, please.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
we don't embarrass people.
The nerves are high.
Want to get that at least one win on the season for someone. So
yeah, or feel good about a game.
Yeah. Before moving on from the games on the 18th, Chase, do you want to talk about your last game?
I could if you really, really want me to.
I would really like you to talk about how the Kings finally lost a game. Well, I guess 2. I think this is 2. They lost to the Sharks the other night too. But anyways, go on. Talk about the shitty Tampa Bay Lightning.
Yeah, let's talk about this epicness. What an epic game. Victor Hedman is like the greatest human being on earth. Like, wow. It's just mind-blowing. Hedman in the second period on the power play, cool as a cucumber, bats down a clearing attempt. Seconds later, sets up Kucherov, completely flips the game on its head. He then ends up scoring later on, get the go-ahead goal to put them up in the game, and that was a game. That was a game right there. Hedman running in and tossing that puck in was game over now. Like, wow. Unbelievable. This guy even started the scoring, I believe. 2 goals, 2 assists in this game.
That's awesome.
Oh my goodness. He must have been playing Super Mario before the game or something like that. Carried that star power over into the game. Like,
that star that you just like invincible with. Yeah, man.
Yeah, what an absolute beast. Like, I'll give a little Kucherov credit just because he was like pointing around, like, "Hey, Hedman, pass it there, do that." Yep, and then to me, hiya.
Just like, because Kucherov's a freak.
It's just like Jesus, man.
Yeah,
he's played like 8-9 games and he's already at 10 points or something. Like,
insane.
What a loser.
Like, what a guy. Fuck.
We're doing our all-star teams for the Atlantic today.
He should go.
I had to snub him just because, like, well, fuck you. You haven't played any regular season
haven't played
games.
enough games.
Whether you deserve it, like, by far.
Whether you are arguably like he's got to be a top 5 forward in the NHL, right?
Yeah, like what he does is just
like he's better than Panarin to me, and I praise Panarin all the time. He's probably better than Huberdeau.
1.67 points per game right now. 15 points, stupid. Buddy.
Yeah.
9 games. Like, get a life.
Better than Huberdeau?
No, I said that Kucherov's better than Panarin and Huberdeau is what I was getting at. Okay. That's why. No, Huberdeau's better, slightly better than Panarin, but that's that's a bit of a hot take. That's like saying which is a higher number, 1 or 1.1, right? Like it's that much of a difference between Panarin and Huberdeau. But yeah, no, Kucherov is legit a problem for other teams. So. What else do you got for us in this game, Chase? You got any more Tampa news before you slide over to LA?
Well, I could always just talk about Tampa's stats for fucking 19 minutes if I really wanted to.
Yeah, and their fourth liner got 20 goals in only his 20th game today. Pat Maroon.
Yeah, no doubt. Pat Maroon's a plus 95. Like
for a second I thought that stat was real. What about the Kings? Tell us some good shit about the Kings.
The Kings, they need, I guess it's Sean Dursey. It's the Sean Dursey show. That's what it is.
Man, it is the
Sean Dursey show. Holy crap! My buddy was talking about this guy a while back, and I was like, oh yeah, no, he's definitely a good prospect. Like decent
draft pick.
Not really think about it too much, and then you watch him the last like week or two, man. This guy's like,
he's been awesome,
following in Doughty's footsteps when it comes to like impact on a team. He's fun to watch. He's awesome. Fun to watch. 2 minutes on the 3 almost on the power play. Like they're giving him time.
It's great. I'm so happy. They got so many young D-men, man, that like can pop off at any day and just be a top 4 guy. Like they have probably 7 defensemen who can be a top 4 guy. Like Oli Mata, like all the jokes aside of his career and how he's played, he's had an awesome season. Obviously, Drew Doughty. Like, they got Tobias Bjornfoot, Anderson, and Dersey. Those are all rookies playing in their defense right now.
Yeah, and Dersey playing almost 18 minutes per game.
Yeah,
which is
and
pretty ridiculous. He's half a point per game, man.
Sean Walker,
rookie D-man.
Yeah, wow. Sean Walker's out, that's huge because he's filling in those shoes massively. Yeah. Like, they got so many guys, like Brant Clark. They got Grants. They got Spence. Like
Tobias Bjornfoot is a guy I really love. Like, I don't know what it is. I hope he becomes so great because I just like how he plays and stuff like that. But an underrated guy that's just so random is Mickey Anderson. Like, he's been playing with Doughty at times and stuff like that. Like, just a random, like, never was supposed to be more than a 7th D-man sort of guy, and he's playing 20 minutes, 39 games this year, plus 11.
Like, something interesting about Mikey too is he's not really an offensive guy, but he's not very big, which is kind of interesting. So, just a little cool thing about Mikey. He's only like 5'11", 5 or 6 foot or something, but doesn't really like to.
And if we're talking about D, might as well pump up Matt Roy for filling in for Sean Walker, because it's not that Dersey has literally filled in for him, because Matt Roy's doing the 20 minutes, 21, sorry. Plus 12, like, what's going on? Are there defensemen on this team that are minus? Like, Jesus, wow.
Yeah, I know, right?
Well done.
Well, this team is really good. It's just surprising. There's a lot of guys that are just playing the system too.
Yeah, exactly. It's fun to watch all these kids. They always got some random kid playing on forward.
What about that Arthur Kaliev? Yeah, Fagimo's been playing, which is awesome. But what about Arthur Kaliev? He sniped one there. So he's got 7 this year. I didn't think he had that many, which is pretty cool.
Shit, hey. No shit. Well, look at that goal. Arthur Kaliev, power play goal, assisted by Sean Dersey and Rasmus Kupari. Like, that's your future. That is gold.
That's our future second line right there.
Yeah, you better have stars in your eyes right now hearing that. Like, that's amazing, dude.
We haven't even brought up the fact that, like, Byfield is back from injury and hasn't played an NHL game yet. Like, this year, like, he's just warmed up in the AHL. Turcotte's just playing too. Does he play the whole time? No, he's played 8 games still. That's past like week. That's a couple weeks. So there's another LA King. Before we move off, I want to give a note to is Trevor Moore. Like, this guy was a 15th forward on the Leafs. Comes to LA in the Campbell trade, and he's got 18 points in 40 games and is a +7. As a guy who was a fringe NHLer, that's incredible.
He's fire. Like, that's
he's
what I
awesome.
Love about this LA team is they see those types of players, the Trevor Moore, the Blake Lizotte. Like, these guys are just fire. They're just they can't stop themselves from just skating fast and just going out all, So, like, I just love these types of players, and they fit them in so well. This game that
these type of players win you cups too, right? Like, that's the difference. It's these random players who have the talent, but you just got to believe in them to play 15, 20, 18 minutes a night, and they're going to be amazing for you. Like, it's so good to see that. But what were you saying, Jordan?
I was just saying, guys that can, like, eat minutes.
Yeah, so absolutely love it. Do you have anything else on the Kings before I go and close out the games that we watched for this past few days?
No, not really. I was just gonna poke at Dano's stats here. 22 points in 38 games, so that's awesome. There you go, buddy.
Man,
hey?
I'm watching the Kings too. Yeah, on Dano, when I watch Montreal play, I didn't respect him enough at times where I'm like, he's really good defensively, but, like, when you don't score, how much value does that have? Like, you can only play third line. In your mind, you think that if you have the right shutdown guy,
you always got to think about the fact that, like, they just don't score goals, really. Montreal. Yeah. So, like, you almost had to, like, right. I know you're not getting points, Dano, but in all reality, if you were on a team that got because there's other teams in the league that get way more goals than this per year. So I wonder what would happen there. And we're seeing it. He's 2 points away from how many points he got last year on Montreal.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just great to see. I love that he's fit like a glove there behind Kopitar. Like, that team's gonna be scary.
Needed, hey?
Super scary in 3 years.
Yeah.
whether they have all these young guys and stuff, like this is how you do it. They still have a follow. They haven't traded any of these guys away. Like, make these guys make the team, force
Yep,
these guys out, and that's how you do it, because that'll make all these players better.
absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm going to jump into a game here quick and jump over to the Leafs Rangers game last night. Now, I was kind of half watching this game. Like, I was doing stuff. I was in the middle of doing a whole bunch of stuff. So I had it on the TV walking around watching, but both these teams offensively so gifted. So gifted. Let's start on the Rangers side of things. Ryan Reeves gets 2 goals. First time since 2013 he's had a multi-goal game. Which is insane. He was all over the ice, and like Chase mentioned, I don't know if you mentioned it before the pod or right at the start of it. He's just running around the ice before the game, trying to catch Chris Kreider about the Super Bowl prediction. Super Bowl prediction.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen that, go check
God.
out our Twitter on the Couch on Ice. It's on there. But yeah, so Reeves was just having a grand old time.
Like, Chris Kreider's like skating down, doing like a drill, literally.
Yeah.
Going to shoot on the net, and Reeves like, Chris, wait.
So good. So funny. I love it.
Yet again, the Leafs blow a 3-1 lead.
But yeah, the Leafs blowing a 3-1 lead is the big story of the game. Let's start, continue on the Rangers front with Adam Fox is just continuing that fact that he's going to be a Norris finalist for
he must be a
years to
mean
come.
guy, because like he gets points or goals and he's just like straight faced and just
Yeah,
looks
no
like he's
kidding,
ready
eh?
to take a punch to the face, and it's
He
like,
wants to win so bad.
why are you so
Yeah.
serious, man? Cool your jets.
No kidding, hey. But yeah,
you know, everybody else usually kind of smiles, and
especially when they score. And then, yeah, just one more player I want to bring up. Jordan's favorite hockey player, Chris Kreider, scoring 25th goal of the season.
Man never falls off.
Yeah, never slowing down. You brought that up like a month ago now, and he just hasn't stopped scoring. Man, it's so funny.
He fucking took that fucking opinion and shoved it right down my throat.
No kidding, eh?
May have put it up your ass, actually.
Yeah.
Well,
and to close off on the Rangers players, actually got Shesterkin. He let in 3 early goals, but after that was just a brick wall. Like, he's been so consistent all year. There's been a couple of Vezina finalist goalies who are slowly slipping a little bit, just have bad week or whatever the case is, but I haven't seen it from Shesterkin yet. Not once have I seen him
really
slip.
Been good this season. One of the best goalies.
So
yeah, I actually heard. Actually, my bro told me that they have him up at the top spot over Vasilevsky right now.
Yeah, I have there's so many people out there that don't even have Vasilevsky in their top 5 because there's so many goalies outperforming their usual stats this year. And Vasilevsky's just doing what he always does, dominate. But yeah, no,
the names I've been hearing are Shesterkin, Quick, Saros, Jari, and Campbell.
I actually haven't heard Quick, but I've definitely heard Saros, Shesterkin, Jari, and Campbell are the 4 I've heard the most. But
yeah, there's a lot of guys doing good.
Lots of guys doing well.
On a Rangers forward, the guy you mentioned, Chris Kreider, 13 tip/deflection goals this year.
He's had
the next is like 5. There's 3 or 4 guys tied with 5. So
man, he's doubling, just always in front of the net. And the goal he scored against Leafs last night was a shot from the point in front of the net, and he got the rebound. Like just as office, right? So love to see it. The Rangers are just offensively terrifying. I think they're a beatable team is the difference. Not good defensively, and they get bailed out a lot, but they just don't stop.
There's a couple good games where they've been challenged pretty good, but like this one wasn't a good challenge because they were able to just bust out at the third period. Like
the Leafs were good
and all that, but
the Leafs were good for this first half of the game, and then.
But like Sheldon Keefe was kind of saying, like we didn't have like an extra little jam, you know. So
I actually have exactly what he said. Keefe after the game came out and said the Leafs were soft and purposeless during loss to the Rangers. When you're
that's
coach,
a little harsh.
That's harsh. I mean, Keefe's a pretty harsh guy.
You need that extra oomph to actually win a game and challenge another team. When you lose a game like you need that little extra kick. It's got to be a little bit harder for the other team.
What? I don't think it's that.
Sounds a little intense, but
I don't think it's that intense because of the past week or past 2 weeks now. They've lost 3 or 4 games where they've blown leads. Like,
That's very true.
More than 2 goal lead, like 2 or more goal leads as well. So, and you lose
Maybe
to Arizona,
you know?
like you gotta be like you're not gonna win the playoff series those games. Like everyone's like, oh, it's okay, it's one game. Okay, do that in the playoffs, and we're talking about the same thing we do every year.
Yeah,
so
I've brought this up. I think before,
yeah, we have
like the way the Leafs and the Oilers are playing. Like this is why these guys will not win the Stanley Cup. Like this doing this stuff during the regular season is why you don't like.
100%.
These cup winning teams don't lose 3 games in a row in general. You know, they almost don't win, or they almost don't lose 3 games at all.
Yeah,
if they have a bad game, they show up the next one.
Yeah, not going a week-long span of underperforming and just disappointing games, right? But no, jump on the Leafs. Let's give them a little bit of love. Let's throw it to Mitch Marner's wave since it's been 2 years apparently. So 2 years since he scored a playoff goal. Finally, Potts
power play.
Power play. Sorry, that's what I meant to say.
It might be a playoff goal too.
Yeah, yeah. So that's just awesome. Get the monkey offs back. I've never worried about that. He hasn't scored in 2 years like most people have. He's a playmaker. You got Matthews and Nylander and Tavares on that power play too. They're more of shooters than him, so I get it. It's disappointing, no shit, but
their power play has been disappointing.
Yeah, their power play has been disappointing for like 2-3 years now. They need to do something. Also, Ilya Mikheyev is still on fire since coming back from an injury. He scored his 6th goal in that game. Like, it's
how
just
much
really
paying him next year.
That's the big question, right? Like he's making 1.675, I think, or something right now.
Yeah, and he's 2 goals away from Marner right now. So
yeah, exactly right. Creepy. So, and they do need a top 6 left winger.
He just him and that Engvall almost like if Engvall can keep going, I really like these guys on these.
Yeah,
on this
I know.
Team.
Hey,
if these guys can stay somewhat cheap.
Engvall's actually doing okay.
Keep these guys around forever, you know. Like I don't know about Engvall's consistency. Like that's the thing.
We've seen him consistently.
we've seen him be great and not great. So, but he's been fairly consistent to me this year. I don't know how to say, but
he's been better than most.
And I like what they bring to the team, but you could probably trade for more veteran guys that bring the same sort of stuff, right?
Yeah, well, it just depends on the money, frankly. If he's getting paid, if Engvall's been paid more than 1.5, the Leafs won't sign it. I don't think. Exactly. I don't see a world. Same with like Mikheyev and it being over like 2.5-ish. So
exactly. If he wants over 2, I think it gets.
He's got to leave. He's gonna have to go somewhere else to get that type of money. And I just got one more forward. Funny enough, it's all the ones who scored. Michael Bunting. I just want to give him props because he currently has more points than Zach Hyman and is on a $3 million less cap hit than him, pretty much, or more than that, actually, a little bit more.
5.
Fucking good.
Is he on 5 million?
Yeah, Bunting makes like 750K.
He makes 900K. No, Hyman makes...
Bunting makes 950K.
How much does Hyman make?
Okay, I thought he got
900. Yeah, he makes 900. Hyman makes 5.5. I thought he only made like 4.5. That's my bad. But yeah, that's still insane. Like 4.5 or a little bit more. That's ridiculous. Bunting's just been so key fitting on this team.
Another good question for a contract. Like who knows what
Luckily,
you get
they don't have to worry about it until after next season. So
yeah, exactly.
That's a pause. That's a huge positive for them.
He is. He's great on that line, but he's not that great. He seems to score half his goals off of the puck hitting him and going in. So
hey, they go in. They go in. Right spot, right time.
In himself, but like, yeah, no doubt.
I also see him winning those puck battles for Marner and Matthews, and the way Marner and Matthews play, they could play without a left winger, and you probably wouldn't notice that it's 5-on-4. Like, Marner and Matthews are so good at handling the puck. It's insane. Their offensive zone possession, the Leafs, is the best we've ever seen. Just one thing I wanted to mention, too. They obviously blowing the lead. Muzzin was out. That's a big piece of it. I'm in awe about trading him back and forth. Like, part of me, I'm like, yeah, trade him. And then I'm like, but nobody else plays like him whatsoever. So you kind of need that. So it's just such a shitty situation for the Leafs.
especially with this defense, like it's
it's
like
tough.
you need Muzzin unless
You need
you replace him with somebody.
Know
like
what
Muzzin.
you need? You need a right-handed Muzzin.
Yeah, that'd be wicked.
That would be
Well, you
wicked
just
for
need
them.
Hall to step up a little bit again. He's been playing okay lately. Actually, I checked some of his stats. So
he's okay.
But
I want some.
Game,
if I'm the Leafs, I'm looking at better than that. I want better, way better.
For sure.
If you're trying to win, and they are, you got to get better than that. So yeah, that's all I got for the Leafs game. It's kind of funny. They blew another game. It's typical Leafs. Like they're gonna be a playoff team, but they need to worry about this playoff wise.
Muzzin,
Muzzin out.
You're relying on Liljegren, Sandin, Alex Biega, buddy.
Biega, playing.
Not could just playing a 12 minutes there with Dermott. Dermott, I'm getting worried about Dermott. I don't like Dermott very much. I wonder.
He's struggling past couple weeks here a bit. Hey.
Yeah. Maybe it's just a little more patience. It's hard to say that with him because I feel like we've been talking about that, or the community of Toronto has been talking about that for 3 years. But
yeah,
maybe
definitely.
they're just jumping the gun.
I think a little bit because he started the season off so well. I would like to watch the rest of the season with him and then determine if he keeps getting worse and not.
Like the problem is he's at that dumb cap limit where it's like you cost money. It's not that much money.
And you can't send him down. Yeah.
If you just have a great half of your season or something like that, all of a sudden things get dicey and you want more money and like who are you going to become sort of thing. Like
right. Luckily that's a contract you don't have to worry about until after next season. So
exactly.
Right. So those are some at least saving graces with some names that are questionable. You don't have to worry about money going up for a couple of years. So which the Leafs' primary worry is. So, but yeah, anyways, that's a review of some of the games. I hope you like the format difference of us kind of speeding through a couple games and then going in deep each about a game. I think it works better. Let's dive into our first segment of the podcast and go to our All-Star Game segment.
Oh, God.
Let's, I'll throw it to you, Chase, because this is your segment, so you can kind of, it's the same thing we did last podcast, just with a different division. So, why don't you kick her off?
Basically, we're hitting the Atlantic Division, so
fitting go with the theme, format. Baby.
Keep the theme since we're talking about it quite a bit already. So just creating a NHL roster here to give a nod to all the guys that are truly all-stars for the league. This one was a little bit more difficult as she's a little more star-studded than the last one. So there's going to be a lot of random mentionables that are probably,
surprising.
Should probably be in, but it's insanely hard to take out some of the guys.
Here, I'll put it in perspective for people. There are 3 teams in the Atlantic that are in the top 7 in the NHL. So that should give you enough. So saving grace, Buffalo and Montreal are in this division, so it should balance it out. But anyways, continue.
Those 4 teams like Florida, Tampa, Toronto, and Boston, like you could actually put like 5 guys in.
It's like an all-star team.
4 guys easily.
It's literally that's your all-star team. Plus 1 like senator and 2 wings or something. Like that's it.
Like I was gonna break the rules here. I was gonna break my own rules and scratch a couple of the guys because I wanted to put these guys in the actual starting lineup, which whatever. It doesn't matter.
It's for
Boston. Fun. So the old bees, I almost took old Patrice out, but I couldn't do it, so I got the line. Marchand, Bergeron, and Pasta. The other guy I tossed in was McAvoy, but let's hit some quick stats.
Shocker, McAvoy in the top line.
Yeah, exactly. So how do you not put McAvoy in the way he's playing? 24 minutes, 24 points, 33 game. That's 0.7. That's right in that spot.
I have a question.
I need you to be points per game. And
while you're on McAvoy, I just want to jump in and ask just a simple quick question. Is he the best defensive defenseman in the NHL? I
have no idea.
Is it like it makes you think? I wonder. It's just something to think about.
He's got to be because he's got to be up there.
He's up there for sure. He's definitely up there. But that's why I said, is he the best? Because there's not anyone off the top of my head I can think of today.
Yeah, we got
Well, but
Petrangelo's.
anyways,
Well,
yeah,
other than
Petrangelo.
Petrangelo, we
Fair
got to start
enough.
doing that.
Fair
Other than
enough. Fair
Petrangelo, other
Fair
than
enough.
Crosby, these
Yeah,
guys are
yeah.
better.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Anyways, continue.
So, Marchand, 43 points in 31
Oh
games.
man,
That's
he's
a
got
1.39 clip.
and 20 goals. Is it 20 or 21?
Yeah, 20 goals, man.
20 goals. Oh, it's insane.
17 power play points. That's probably up there when it comes down to it. And let's go to
Behind
two
McDavid and
shorthanded goals.
Draisaitl.
Might as well have two shorthanded goals, because I'm Brad Marchand and I don't not play.
Yeah, that's the thing too. Teams have been starting to play their stars on the PK a little bit more, and it works. So I just found that that's interesting. But continue.
No doubt. Pasta, he's been clipping decent, nothing amazing. You see him really bounce up some games and some weeks and stuff like that. But 32 points, 36 games, 16 goals. Bergeron hanging out basically right with him, 31 points, 35 games. Both hitting about 19 minutes. Weirdly enough, Bergeron's only playing 18 minutes this year, so
load
I almost snubbed him, but when you have a 62% face-off percentage,
yeah.
I just couldn't do it.
Yeah, no, he'll play 18 minutes until the end of the for the regular season. Then playoffs will come and it'll be like 23 minutes, 22 minutes.
Exactly. Yeah, just got to get through the regular season.
Well, the East is set. Let's be honest. Like the East playoffs are set. We know who they are.
Let's actually. There was an insane points percentage difference. Like it's crazy compared to the next.
Well, here I'll look. I'll look right now, and we'll talk about it. We'll talk about after the All-Star segment, but I'll have it ready for right afterwards.
So, I got it. 639 winning percentage for Boston, and they're in the second wild card spot. And the next one is Detroit at 512. That's a full points percentage. And
more. That's insane.
So it's basically set already. Let's go kick it to the Buffalo Sabres. Now, what did I start on this one? I was gonna name Tage Thompson. I was just gonna go off straight recency bias and not even.
That's the only name I can think of.
And go Tage Thompson or Jeff Skinner just because they've been playing somewhat actually good this year. Skinner's at least leading the team in goals.
If you sent Jeff Skinner, there would be a riot in the NHL.
He makes like $9 million. You better go do something for him.
Yeah, true.
But no, I ended up going with Dolly and just, I don't know. How do you not? He's the biggest key to this team. 23 minutes, like he is. When he does good, they do good. So I don't know. I kind of stuck with kind of an obvious one, and the forward rosters are pretty epic on this team. So.
I know the sample size is definitely not big enough, but I would almost put Alex Tuck based on like the criteria. Yeah. He's been so good. Defensively, I look at Jacob Bryson because I just impressed with him at his age doing what he's doing on a no-name team. I was gonna put
Cousins in there, and in all reality, nobody should go. Like honestly, that's actually how it.
I think the best one that could probably go would be Cousins or Delaney, obviously, just for sheer skill.
Exactly. So.
But anyways,
exacto.
Take Michael Hauser after last game.
Take Dustin, take their goalies because they're the ones that show up.
Yeah, we'll take Dustin, Hauser, or Malcolm. Like one of those three can go. Uko, one of those four. So do you ain't got any other names from Buffalo?
God no. I only picked Dolly.
I'm surprised you picked Deline.
I know. I'm surprised I picked any. Like I said, I almost wanted to scratch this guy because, why? Any hootenanny and a hoedown. Let's go to my boys, the Detroit Red Wings. I got Larkin in there. How do you not put Larkin in? I think he's just the heart and soul of the team, and he has been even last year as well when Bertuzzi was hurt and there was no Raymond and no Sider. So don't worry, I'm not naming those guys. I'm just naming Larkin because I'm not going that recency bias.
You didn't add Raymond.
No Raymond, no Sider. Just
I would have added one.
Lowly. No, not doing it.
I think the top three Calder finalists should be there and not count as a roster spot, actually. But that's just a whole different.
That's interesting.
I think they should do a rookie team, like a starting lineup rookie team, or at least like each division has to take a rookie. That
A
would be
rookie
interesting.
team would probably be a good idea.
A rookie team
why
would probably
not?
be better. Because then you take like Raymond, Lundell, Sider in the Atlantic. The Atlantic would win.
Yeah.
But anyways,
no doubt.
you can continue.
So that's basically my only starting lineup guy, but I did squeeze my boy Alex Nedeljkovic in as my extra goalie. Had to do it. I just love him. He's been we got to think about it. Last year he was so good, and
it's
this
between
year,
it's between
really
him and Bob. So
yeah, exactly. And I just honestly, I'll give you a sneak. I snuffed Bob just because of consistency. And last year, I was like, you know what? Technically, Nedeljkovic been more consistent.
He's been better for the last whole year. That's true. All-star game.
So he's my last scratch guy there for the extra goalies. Where do I want to go?
Should have taken that Forsberg from Ottawa too.
Yeah, no doubt. That's 6-game win streak or something.
That's a name. That's a goalie name. But anyways, sorry. Continue. Your next team.
So let's go to Montreal. Man, I almost beat my head against the wall like 70 times trying to figure this one out. I almost went with Jeff Petrie because in all reality, it was like he was great for them last year. And it's just
better lately. He's been a little bit better lately. He started off season so bad.
Yeah, and I almost wanted to give it to him just because he's showing to be a little bit better lately. Right. And well, the guy logs minutes for this team. That's what he's there for, 23 minutes. But sure. I didn't go with Nick Suzuki. I went with Tyler Toffoli, honestly.
Yeah, I agree. 100% agree. Only other person I might agree over is Josh Anderson.
Dude, it took me so long to pick Tyler Toffoli.
Yeah. For me, it's Toffoli or Josh Anderson because those two are the most important for this team going back to last year and still this year are doing something.
Yeah, exactly.
Even if it's not much.
Yeah, both of them playing 17 minutes. Toffoli, nothing spectacular right now, just 19 points, 27 games.
Something like a 1.8 or 0.8 points per game pace-ish, 0.7.
Yeah, so and I'll just go back to the start of the year here and see what he's got for these guys. Give me a second. I wanted to...
No, that's cool. I got a couple... I'll just mention some names.
Oh, so this year it was 79 games, 63 points is what Toffoli's ripping over since January 1st.
That's pretty good.
So yeah, very big key, most power play goals as well with 9. So averaging the 0.8 point per game, which is kind of like my standard sort of thing when it comes to this all-star sort of thing. So let's get out of there if you got anything else you want to say.
No, I got nothing on Montreal. This team's just a fucking nightmare.
Yeah, exactly. Another one of those teams where they're playing so bad this year, you could almost snuff them and scratch this guy instead of having him in the starting lineup or just not name anybody.
Yeah.
Let's go to Ottawa, where honestly this was crazy hard to leave guys out. Like Drake Batherson, Brady Tkachuk, like it's tough to say no to these guys, but I did say no to them, and I feel bad for it. Since January 1st of last year, Batherson's been hitting. It's an 83 games, 65 points. That's 0.78 points per game. So he's right in that clip that I'm talking about. 25 power play points, guys. Like that's quite a bit. He's playing 17 minutes, and that's over all of like last year. So like. I'll switch my stats back over to by season this year here.
For Batherson?
Yeah, for Batherson.
This year he's got 31 points in 27 games, so he's over a point per game.
Yeah, so he's right now like
and he's a +4.
19 minutes, dude. Yeah, +4. Like
I don't know how you don't take Batherson now after I
took Shabbat. That is why.
Yeah, okay.
The reason I did that is because it's 27 minutes, and like I said, this is a pretty star-studded forward group. I put Toffoli in, so I said, I would have taken him. You have to put Shabbat. He's the most important player on this team
by far. No, like Shabbat is this team's present and future of defense. Without him, they're in trouble. I think. They better hope Sanderson is a legit number 2 behind him because
Brandstrom hasn't looked like he's going to be that. So that's getting sketchy. Yeah, exactly.
I'm terrified for Ottawa. They just we already knew they were gonna lose the Mark Stone trade, but like they really lost the Mark Stone trade. They should have taken Suzuki over fucking Brandstrom, I guess.
Hey, no
But
doubt, no doubt.
anyways, sorry, go up on tangent. Shabbat's your main man in Ottawa.
Indeed. So he's in my starting lineup.
You know what?
Kick it.
Fuck Toffoli. I would take Batherson over Toffoli. Screw Montreal. They're the misfit team that misses out.
Yeah, no, like I said, like Buffalo and Montreal are two teams where
honestly.
I'd be very okay with throwing out the rule that I have of having everybody represent the All-Star and not have them in, because
I want to see the best. This isn't what Nathan McKinnon says. Perfect. It's not a participation thing. It's who's the best players.
Exactly. So. But let's go to the Florida Panthers and talk about a bunch of guys that should be on this team as well. Anthony Duclair.
Why don't we list the names
Sam
that
Bennett.
shouldn't be on the team, and it'll go faster. Like this team is just worse.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
good team.
Duclair, Sam Bennett, and Carter Verhaeghe are basically all-stars. If you actually look at Duclair's stats, man, from like the last little bit, it's insane. The guy's a plus 27 just this year. I looked back, man. It was like a start of March or something like that, or like the whole like he was at like a plus 45 and a point per game.
Yeah.
Duclair's been just madness. The only reason I had to snuff him was basically, I guess he only played 15 minutes. Had to make an excuse, I guess.
Yeah. I think that gives you more of a reason to go, honestly. Just like scoring that many points in 15 minutes, like, that's impressive.
Yeah, I know. But the obvious.
I understand why. There's 4 guys that are pretty obvious to go before them.
I have only 3 guys going on this team, and one of them is my. Oh, sorry, 4. I do have 4. The 4th guy is this extra D man. I have Mackenzie Weegar as my extra D man.
I think it's just simply a little bit crazy that he's an extra, honestly. Yeah, but yeah,
like I'm saying, like the Darlene could be kicked out and you could throw him in or whatever. But
honestly,
I'm gonna stick to at least representing one guy.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But so. Clearly, Aaron Ekblad's in there. He's been dynamite, and I got Barkov and Huberdeau, like the obvious guys.
Obvious guys.
You know, Huberdeau hitting a 1.36 points per game, 53 points in 39 games, almost 19 minutes. And then you go to Ekblad. He's 25 minutes he plays every game, plus 27 right now. He's almost at a point per game, Aaron Ekblad. 35 points, 38 games. Like, wowie. What's Barkov hitting for time on ice right now? Probably just something dumb or what? 20, just straight up 20 right now. 50%, 55% face-off percentage.
That's pretty nice.
Just to give you a quick hit on the old ridiculous stats of these Florida Panther guys, because they're just a fucking machine, guys. Right? God, is that awesome? Where do we want to go? I'll go to we'll go Tampa. Go to the big boys.
I'm intrigued who you're gonna pick here.
I'll bring up my I got 2 guys as my extra forwards because I feel so bad for even leaving one of them out.
Yeah.
Palat and Killorn.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen Killorn's stats lately, but in like the last year he's been like absolutely psychotic. Like he's hitting like a 0.9 point per game right now. It's so dumb. 19 and a half minutes, guys. Like this is not like he's playing like 15 or 17 like we all thought he was for the last however. No, this guy's playing like almost 20 minutes every scenario. It's amazing what he's actually done. You watch the game. I'm sure if you watch Tampa games, you notice him. Him and Palat have been just everything for this team.
Can I throw in an extra forward that
they have all-stars, but they don't. Like these guys are all-stars for those all-stars.
Yeah.
So it's like
I got another Tampa name too that like obviously he's not going to the All-Star game, not even close. Like there's so many guys above him, but I just want to shout him out. Corey Perry is casually having an unreal season. He has 20 points in 41 games. As a let's see how old Corey Perry is.
That's a point every other game, boys.
Yep, that's for a 36-year-old winger playing fourth line minutes. 4th line minutes.
14 minutes.
Yeah, like 3rd line minutes. That's awesome. So I just wanted to shout Corey Perry because he's a stud. But anyways,
rolling back the years.
Yeah, no kidding, man. Like, so good. But you can continue, Chase. What else What names?
Oh yeah, well,
What
I
do you
got the
got
obvious
in there?
guys.
The obvious guys.
The obvious guys I got in there are Point, Stammer, and Hedman.
Yeah.
Brought up Hedman before.
Sucks
I
that
don't
you
even need to
can't
say
take
anything
Cooch.
else about Hedman from what I
No.
said earlier in the episode. Like, this guy is just, he had one of those games where he's just the greatest person on earth.
He's probably
25
the best
minutes.
lefty in the NHL. Him or
Yeah,
Yossi. Him or Yossi.
Yeah. 25 minutes per game plus 14, 43 points in 41 games. He is getting over a point per game after that 4-point night.
Yeah.
So that's all you need to say. He doesn't even need to get points for the next 2 days just to stay at a point per game. Stammer. Oh wait, yeah, he's got the most power play points. 15 power play points
Stammer
this season. No, Hedman.
Oh, Hedman.
Stammer right behind him. Stammer right behind him with 14. He's got 8 power play goals. Stammer.
Yeah, man.
Oh boy, 52% face-off percentage. 18 and a half minutes. That boy.
He's on pace to score like 40 goals this year, Stamkos. Like casually. Nobody's talking about how he's got over a point per game and he's on pace for 40.
Yeah, and he had who to play it with for like about a month.
Sorelli.
Sorelli.
That's about it.
Palat and Killorn.
Taylor Radish.
No Dote. Corey Perry.
Yeah. Pat Maroon.
And then obviously the other guys, Braden point per game again.
He's so legit. He's legit.
15,
so good, man.
15 minutes. You thought 18 and a half minutes was kind of small and weird out of Stamkos. That's because Braden Point plays 1940. So
yeah. He's their number one center. He is so fast. Like so fast. He is one of the better skaters in the NHL. Top 5. Like, he just blows past defensemen. It's crazy. It's so crazy. I'd say he's probably the 3rd fastest player with the puck in the NHL.
That's a good point. Like,
behind McDavid I'd say McDavid and maybe McKinnon. Those are the only 2 players that might be faster with the puck. And even McKinnon might not be. He's just ridiculous. I can talk about Braden Point all day.
Yep. Definitely. I'll give out the big snub on Kucherov that I mentioned earlier. 15 points, 9 games. This guy is ridiculous. 1.67 points per game, 20 minutes. Like, yeah, whatever, man. Play more games. How about that? I'll put you in here. But yeah, the other guy's Vasilevsky, obviously, in net. Since I'm gonna segue this into Toronto, I named Jack Campbell my starting goalie over Vasi just because.
Unexpected.
Do I have to?
Not really. He's a Vezina finalist for a guy that was pegged as a career backup for the rest of his life and is quickly turning into a number 1 goalie. I don't think that's all you gotta say.
I'll put it this way: I'm a little worried that he's gonna never play this good again. So
I do have nod now. Actually, I will see if I can. You can talk about the
and
Leafs
everybody knows Vasilevsky's.
Yeah, I tweeted. I retweeted something that I found very interesting about Jack Campbell. So here it is. His first 14 starts this season, he had a goals against average of 1.67 and a save percentage of a .943 and 3 shutouts. The next 14 starts after that were he had a goals against average of 2.84, save percentage of 912, and only 1 shutout. So he's definitely normal numbers after the first 14. But he's still playing awesome and making super save every game. At least 2 super saves a game. So, yeah.
No, man.
You can continue with the other guys.
Yes, the Leafs. Man, I snubbed Marner. I didn't put Marner in because he didn't score a power play goal forever. And that was my reason. It was literally I needed a random reason to snub one of the. I couldn't put all 4 of them in. I wasn't feeling it. But I did put Nylander in, Matthews and Tavares because Nylander's been
their second best player. Matthews is their best player. Like, yeah, those 2 make sense. It's interesting about Tavares. Picking Tavares over Marner. I think a lot of people wouldn't, but I understand
I feel you. I just give Tavares one more nod because I think he's been playing really, really outstanding the last little bit. And
he has played well.
So give him the nod there.
Shows how good their team is, like forward wise, though. So
yeah, like I said, you could put 4 to 5 guys on all top on those
Oh,
top
yeah.
4 teams in the All-Star game if you really wanted to. But just to be slightly recency biased, like I said, Marner got his power play goal finally, so
Yeah.
wasn't enough for me. But the reason I didn't put him in is because of the fact that gets like 21 minutes. He plays an insane amount of minutes.
My thing is he's so good defensively that it's kind of hard not to put him in it for me. Like he's so underrated defensively because of his cap hit that people sometimes don't notice. But if you ISO Cam Marner for a game, he probably has more takeaways than any other player on the ice, unless they're playing Vegas and then Mark Stone will. But he has like the second most in the NHL as a winger. So, but no,
so
fair.
Since April 1st, 53 games roughly is about 56, I guess it would be. Matthews, Tavares, and Nylander are the most highest on the points. 65 points for Matthews in 42 games since April 1st. April Fools, boys. That's a 1.23 points per game, 20 minutes per game, almost getting to 21, 53% face-off percentage. And the big reason I put Tavares in, 57.9 face-off percentage. That's sick. It's ridiculous.
That's
awesome.
Ridiculous. That's really good. That's really good.
And also a point per game. Good. Point per game over there since April 1st. Obviously, these guys are just pretty madness on the power play. I didn't mention Matthews got 11 power play goals in the last 53. But
he was also I forgot to mention during the game. I can't believe I forgot to bring it up. His away games goal streak just ended at 10 games.
Oh, it did now.
Yeah, it ended last night. It shouldn't have. He scored last night, but they said it was a kicking motion, which.
Oh yeah, the flick.
It was a little, but I would have, based on some of the calls they made this year, I would have called that a goal. I've seen way worse kicking motions that they've called goals in the past year or two. So, but whatever.
Yeah. But just to give you a reason why I threw Nylander in there, he's just had a little bit more points. Marner's missed a few games from last year. He's hitting that 1 point, and like when you watch, he just seems better. He is better
right now. Like
we see him evolve now, and he's playing
he's on pace for 82 points, whereas statistically I bet Marner's better, but Marner missed a couple games, so that's a shot at him. Marner sucked to start the year. Like to start this year, for the first 3-4 weeks he was awful, like completely terrible.
And the other reason I'm snubbing Marner is there's an evolution to him. Like what I just said about Nylander, he's evolved, and I think we see who Nylander is going to be, and he's being that guy.
He's
Marner still needs to do that.
Yeah,
Marner still needs to evolve into who he's truly going to be for the rest of his career. Because, like you said, all of a sudden inconsistency, these few games being missed isn't that big a deal. But yeah, I just wanted to snub him because of the whole not getting a power play goal. You're better than that. You play all these minutes. You can bring even more to this team somehow, buddy.
Fair enough.
That's it. Obviously Morgan Riley in there. Should have talked about him a little bit more. 40 points, 56 games. That's a 0.71 points per game, which is exactly in my range for defensemen. 24 minutes almost. This guy is Morgan Riley. He's
the heartbeat of the team, man. Like he really is that heartbeat of this team. You can tell 100%. when he's I think I'm still gonna hold on to this until the end of this team is a thing. I think Morgan Riley should have been the captain of this hockey team. I really do. Over Tavares. I love Tavares. I love Tavares. I understand why you gave him the C. He was a captain in Long Island. He was a long-time Toronto boy. He came home, took less money, yada, yada, all the fun shit. But you respect a guy who's been here through hell since 2012 and stuck with you through everything.
He's such a leader.
Yeah, I love
you
Morgan
probably
Riley.
Feel kind of dumb about not giving him the C now.
I do.
Signed a contract, right?
Yep, absolutely. Like
no, it's we probably should have done that, but
yeah, exactly. But
it's not.
It makes
that matters.
Makes it easier to give Matthews the C after is to give it to Tavares because he's older. Like that's the biggest thing I think they did it actually. Is so Matthews can get the captain in like 3 years.
Yeah, once that contract's up or something.
Yeah. But yeah, anyways, so that's your full team.
That is the full team.
Cool.
That is the
Well,
full team.
since you listed all the players, why don't you just list the important 6 players, your starting lineup?
My starting lineup, I got Jack Campbell between the pipes.
Wait, are we gonna go goal? Are we gonna go position
Yeah, let's say
together?
our goalies.
Okay,
Let's
cool.
say our goalies. What
Well,
do you
I'm
got, boys? Who are you starting?
Jack attack boy, Jack Campbell.
Yeah.
It has to be for me. Leafs team defensively sucks a lot of nights, and he's there to bail them out. I love Vasi. I understand it, but I'm going Jack. Jordan?
Yeah, no, it's the same for me. It's Jack Campbell. I agree with what you say about Vasilevsky, but like the thing is, Vasilevsky has been doing this, and he will continue to do this for probably maybe
5
another
years.
decade or so.
Yeah, 5-10 years.
Yeah, yeah, he's
so.
So I hold Vasilevsky to a higher regard.
Yeah.
And then the big thing for me
It's
about
tough
Jack
to do
Campbell,
that, but it is, yeah.
Yeah, but you kind of have to, right? When you play at an exceptional level, you are expected to continue to play at an exceptional level.
He is just like Pietrangelo and Crosby. Like, just stop talking about who the best goalie is. Stop talking about who the best D-man is. Stop talking about who the best forward is.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about the next guys.
Yeah,
after those guys.
That's the debate is who is like the next best. It's not like who can challenge the best. It's not who is the best.
Yeah, the league's even snubbing Vasilevsky for awards, but they know it too. They're like, you're the best. Everybody knows you're the best. You got your Stanley Cups.
Yeah,
don't worry about it, man.
You get Conn Smythe Stanley Cups. He'll win again. Yeah. But it's Jack. It's Jack. So,
the big thing for that was just the fact that Jack Campbell is second in the league for shutouts. He has 4 behind Jacob Markstrom's 5.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
That's awesome. So, what do you got for your right D?
I'll give you my defense.
Your defense. What about your whole D combos?
I think it's pretty obvious in this.
It's not.
Actually.
It's not to me. There's
like you could
5 names that I put down.
You've got arguments for sure, but Ekblad and Hedman are mine.
That's mine.
I don't know if I could go away with those.
Yep.
I've changed. Yeah, I've changed this 4 times, but it is Ekblad Hedman for me. I had Shabbat in there because of what he's done for Ottawa. He needs more recognition sometimes. I had Uyghur in there on the left as well. I think he's just been better somehow than last year, and he just keeps getting better. I love Mackenzie Uyghur. And then on the right side, you got Ekblad and McAvoy for me, who are the 2 that I ummed and awed, but then you said like Ekblad point per game. I was okay. I'm gonna pick Ekblad over Uyghur. And I don't want to pick the Florida defense when they get scored on a lot, so I picked Hedman. But all the same so far. Do we have the same? I presume we have the same forwards, honestly, too.
I
There were 4 names that came up for me, so I wouldn't be surprised if maybe there's 1.
Yeah, I'm a little unsure about the right winger. I got Barkov and Huberdeau playing center and left, but the right wing spot, I'm actually not really sold on the Huberdeau thing. I almost wanted to throw Marchand in there because obviously that guy's just an animal on the ice. But I just wanted to pump Huberdeau and Barkov's tires. But I got Stammer as my right guy.
Interesting.
But I wanted to put Point. I didn't know what to do there.
Yeah, there's a couple.
Because, like, in reality, you'd probably give it to Point over, like, you're looking over, like, the last year.
Probably,
like, not just,
yeah.
You'd probably give it to Point, right?
That's fair.
But I'm giving it to Stammer because he's the coolest guy on earth. He's the closest thing to Steve Yzerman other than Braden Point.
Yep. Fair enough. All right, Jordan, what do you got? Because they are so far different.
I've got 1 different name. The first name penciled down for me was Jonathan Huberdeau.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
nice.
He's my left winger, so
yeah, he is my left winger.
Fully agree with that.
Similarly, on the right, I've got the Stammer.
Nice.
Yeah, I went 2 left wingers and I went Brad Marchand. Like he's been
that was my other option.
So good.
That's what I had for a while, but I decided to stick Matthews down the middle.
I took Matthews down the middle as well. That's where I was like, wow, like I understand the Barkov of it all, and you're talking about last season too. Well, how about the Rocket winner from last year, who's continued to be? What's his stats for goals? How many goals does he have in games? Because like I'm pretty sure it's like 25 goals in 35 games. Are you shitting me?
Since April Fool's Day of 2021, he has 42 goals in 53 games.
Yeah, like come on. Like, and he's like being talked about for the Selkie this year. Like his
And that was
defensive
the
game
big
is
thing for
rounding
me.
out.
Was
Like,
the
He
fact
gets
that he's so good defensively and he doesn't play the penalty kill.
yeah, he's doing pretty good for defensively progression. What were you about to say there, Chase?
I was just gonna say that his goals per game is like the same as like the
Most
defensemen
people's
we're putting
points
in
per
here for points per game. Like,
Yeah, like
what a
that's
loser.
stupid. Like I love Barkov and Point. Like don't get me wrong, like I said, I could put those guys in my team any day over players, but
Oh god, yeah, they're fucking beauties.
Matthews is a different breed. He's that tier with McKinnon, Draisaitl.
Yeah,
Like he's
I'll
right
kinda-
with those guys.
I'll give you the reason I snubbed him in a sense is basically because I think there's more and there's another level of Matthews that we're gonna see, and I know we'll see it. I don't know if like Barkov's gonna get better.
See, I agree with that, but I don't care if they're gonna get better to be snubbed. Like I just want the best, so I don't counter that in as much. But that's a fair point. Like he is gonna get better. Barkov probably is what he is, and that is a number one.
Looking at it now, it does
top
look
three
like
two-way
Barkov missed
center.
a few games. So maybe if I looked at this again,
Yeah, he was
I might
injured
throw the old
for remember, we thought he was going to be injured for like the half the year, and then it turned out to only be a couple weeks. So
that was scary, that knee hit. Yep.
Exactly. So that's bigger reason for me with Matthews. He's getting more
56% winning percentage. Old Barkov.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
53.
That's awesome.
Matthews. Okay, Matthews is pretty good. That's
yeah, that's pretty good, hey. So, but anyways,
that's all, boys.
Yeah, that's it for the All-Star game. That's all we got time for, anyways. So we don't have time to talk about some of the skills. We got 2 more segments with the All-Star, so we got time to talk about segments if we don't dive too deep. But let's just get in around the news around the league. I'm just gonna start rifling shit off. So jump in when you feel.
Can I start?
Yes, you can. Absolutely.
I'm pretty stoked about this. There is a new team introducing a new team to the AHL, boys. The Seattle Kraken are getting their own baby Kraken franchise, the Coachella Valley Firebirds.
Yeah.
Yes, the Firebirds compared to the Kraken, completely different. Yes, indeed. But, it's pretty dope. Check it out on Twitter. They can show the threads and stuff like that. It's pretty tight, boys.
Hit them a follow too. We just did, so love to see that. Love to see those AHL teams that are super dope. Firebirds. Oh, what a name!
And I'm actually seeing some Carson Kuhlman getting picked up by Seattle. So I wonder if they'll just start claiming all these guys that everybody has to put through waivers because they had to pick them up for COVID. I wonder if Seattle can just start claiming everybody
and just play them.
And then just have a sick AHL team.
Yeah, should do.
I guess they started on January 24th apparently, so like maybe they could just start claiming the shit out of guys.
That would be sweet.
An AHL team.
That would be sweet. That'd be awesome. No, super dope AHL team. I love to see it too. So, no, I don't actually have that much for the league. We kind of talked about it naturally through talking about some of the games, like Sam Bennett scoring in his return to Calgary, all that fun stuff. But got some Bruins news here as they retired Willie O'Ree's jersey number. He was the first African-American male to play in the NHL. If you don't know, he was just inducted to the Hall of Fame was it this past induction or the one before? It was one of the two. I can't remember.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure.
But yeah, no, just super cool, interesting. We saw obviously Pronger the other night, and Willie O'Ree's already passed away, unfortunately, but just nice to see him honor his memory a bit. Moving forward, like I said, we pretty much mentioned everything because I was going to talk about that Twitter feud with Marchand, but we already did with Carolina. Let's go to Vegas, and we got a little bit of Eichel news as Pete DeBoer came out and said that Eichel is still about a month or 2 away. So unfortunately, we won't be seeing him this month. Not looking likely, but maybe sometime in February. Late February is probably when we're looking at the date. And yeah, I just got 2 more things, both Canadian teams. Do you guys want to talk about the bad news or the good news team first? You can tell who the bad news team is. All right, let's hear the good. Montreal, actually. Kent Hughes, he had a press conference, talked about what he wants. He emphasized patience on this team, which we knew was going to happens with every GM that's signed. They take a year to think about what they want to do typically, and do small moves in the meantime. But he envisions building a very fast, offensive-minded team. So that's going to be exciting if that comes to fruition with how boring Montreal's been for the past decade or two.
Well, they can't help themselves but draft and acquire 5'8" players, so they might as well, right?
Yeah, and well, the two players that he picked as the cornerstone pieces, can you name them? Suzuki and Caulfield, right? So he's going to focus around them. And on defense, he really loves the look of Romanov and Gulli and thinks Gulli has potential to be a future captain of the team, which would be interesting. He's got that leadership role. Yeah, Romanov's awesome, and then great. Just it's nice to have 2D. Sucks they're on the left side, but 2D that are really good touted as forwards. Let's jump into the bad news. I don't want to dive too deep in like Galaxy Brain this because it happens all the time, and we all know Draisaitl isn't the best interview. So I'm sure you've heard it. Leon Draisaitl and reporter Jim Matheson have I called it a spit with quotations in the media conference after the game. Basically, Matheson asking what they need to do better, and Leon giving a short answer, which if you watch his press conferences, he never gives a good answer. Leon Draisaitl.
Yeah, and if you watch like the whole 3-minute press conference, this guy was just prodding the fuck out of him the whole time.
Yeah.
So this was the boiling point. This wasn't even, like if you saw
this has been going on for weeks too.
Not saying anything. That's because there was 2 minutes before that of him asking like the same shit and just
which I was just gonna exactly. And then after he gives the answer and says to him, "Oh, you know everything, so you can make that decision," and all that.
I'd say that too. I would have said that too.
But then Jim Matheson coming out and saying, "Why are you so pissy, Draisaitl?" Leon, I laughed my ass off. I heard that.
Guy, hey?
Yeah, he's
guy.
like,
"Why are you so pissy?" Hey,
he's like, "I gave you an answer." He's like, "Not a good one," and it's just everyone's like, "Oh, this is such a big deal. What should they do about it?" It's like it's nothing. They're two adults that had a disagreement because they're frustrated. Edmonton hasn't won many games in their past 20. They need to start winning or else they're not going to make playoffs. Like, Draisaitl's pissed, understandably. Media, stop fucking pushing these players over the top that at times.
Yeah, I think I put on Twitter, I was like, guys, can we just leave them alone? Leave them alone. Leave the team alone.
It's every day. It's every day they're giving media to Draisaitl. And when you complain, "Oh, he's a bad interview someone else." They interviewed Brandon Pierlini and they tried to get something out of him. He was smiling the whole time. I loved it. If you guys haven't seen that, you guys need to. He was positive. He's like, "Oh yeah, we go through ups and downs. That's life." And just being super smiling. Then they're like, "So when's that next win gonna be?" And he, in a really asshole sounding way by the reporter, by the way. And Pierlini just looks at him, smiles, and goes, "Hopefully next game." And that's the player they need to be interviewing after games. Never really knew much about Pierlini, and he's been a fringe NHLer. Put him in front of the mic more, man. I loved it.
Dude, I'm pretty sure the only reason he was on our teams and why we got him and picked him up all the time is just he's been around just because he's a great guy. Kenny.
Yeah, that's why he's getting a chance. He's getting a chance because of that. So
yeah, when you guys start losing, I don't think it was just because of injuries why they pulled up Pierlini. They were like, "Man, we need somebody to just be happy."
Just a good energy. So I'm very happy about that he fired back in a positive way like that and silenced a reporter because they're like, "Oh, well, that's not the answer I hoped for." I was kind of hoping he'd flip out on me.
But put him up there every day for
every game.
3-4 weeks and I bet he'll have one time where he's not very nice about the situation.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and also talking about Edmonton and media, let's bring it back. We didn't really talk about McDavid being asked about Evander Kane. My question is, what answer do you expect?
Exactly. It was day after.
They're not teammates. It was a day after his contract gets terminated. They haven't signed him yet. They haven't signed him. He isn't an Oiler.
It sounds like a good player.
What are you supposed to say?
I don't fucking know.
It's a lose-lose. You say he's a good hockey player. Hopefully he can help us win. Oh, you're selfish. You only care about winning. He's a terrible person. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, he comes out and says he's a bad person. Don't think we should sign him. You sign him a week later. Oh, fuck. That's my teammate and I'm his captain.
Yeah.
What am I gonna say to him when he
Honestly,
walks in? He's my line mate, probably. What am I supposed to say to him? Like,
all
I
I'd
hate
say
it.
is not the guy I want to go to the casino with.
Yeah, and like honestly, all you say on that is like that's the GM's decision, not mine. I just gotta focus on us winning games today. That's the
And he
best
did
answer you
do
could have
that,
gave,
but he
and
said
he
other
did.
things.
But he said
But he
other
said
things
other
that
things,
people got
and
pissed about.
That's what the media focused on, is that he said
Yep.
other things. It's
And
like,
it-
fuck
and
sakes, you guys, can you
awful.
like learn how to be the media? Like, this is bad. Like,
Yeah.
hearing that dude talk that way to Draisaitl,
Yeah, Jim
just
Matheson.
got a 12-year-old up there. The guy's been
Yeah, I
doing
agree.
this for 40 years, and he sounds like a 12-year-old.
Yeah.
Where's
Nope.
the 50?
I
Oh
know,
my goodness.
it's just insane. Like, leave these Oilers alone for a minute and let them regroup. Let them do it. Like, I guarantee you, just because fucking Columbus is losing big games and lost 9-2 to Florida, do you think they're having a press conference like, how do you think you need to do better? It's like, not lose 9-2? Like, fuck. Like, they're not doing that, so they're gonna figure it out. So lay off them. It's just so annoying. Canadian media sometimes is like, fuck. But yeah.
I fully agree. I got one thing to rip up here, boys. I just noticed somebody brought up Quentin, Mr. Byfield, making his season debut for the Kings.
Perfect. Love it.
Against the Avalanche.
Tonight? Or is that tomorrow?
Tonight.
Yeah.
Nice. I will be watching that game, that's for damn sure.
Other good Kings news. This one kind of shocked me. Mr. fucking Brown has
Dustin
700
Brown.
points.
Yeah, he did. He scored his 700 point the other night.
700
Yeah.
career points.
DB?
Did you? Yeah, DB. Did you hear what he said during it too? During the game, they're asking him, and he's like, they're like, so were you looking up, like, counting the days on a calendar for this game, knowing that you're close? He's like, no, I didn't even know I had 700 points.
Yeah, he was.
Like,
I think he said like, yeah.
I don't track the stats.
Yeah, he said like, somebody will randomly bring up something like that, and I'll have no idea. I'll have no idea that I got to any sort of stat. Like, somebody will just say it in the locker room. I'm like, oh yeah, really?
And it's just like, cool. He has no care in the world. He's just there to play hockey. So love
those are the
DB.
types of guys you hate in fantasy hockey, because they could give a fucking shit if they actually get a point. Like,
yeah, exactly. Hey.
Like, you want guys that like want to consistently actually get points. Like,
that's why you pick Russians.
They're just driven to get points. Yeah.
That's why you pick Russians, because that's all they care about.
Yeah.
The amount of stories I hear of superstar Russians breaking their sticks behind in the dressing room because they scored 4 points instead of 7. Like,
missed those 2 opportunities.
Yeah, like, oh, I should have had 7 points to 4. Fuck this. Like, oh, come on. But yeah, no, I got one more thing or 2 more things. I do not remember if I brought this up last podcast, so I'm going to bring it up again. Claude Julien was named the head coach for Team Canada at the Olympics. So that's awesome. We got a legit NHL head coach as a coach for the team. So not that it really matters that much in short tournaments, but it's nice for Canada to have some experience there. And just some natural NHL news. There is going to be 95 games rescheduled from February 7th to the 22nd, which is the span of when the Olympic break was supposed to be.
That was the other one. Is that out now?
I haven't looked at the actual. Websites. I think so. I haven't looked at the initial games. I looked at a couple of Canadian team game reschedules, but.
Because I wasn't going to do that schedule thing in the future watch last time, because I was going to wait for the actual schedule to come out.
Well, there you go. You got next week's podcast.
Because now I knew they were going to fill in those days. Now I want to just see what it looks like. Right. Okay, so Calgary, real quick, back-to-back games. A game on Saturday, couple days off. Back-to-back games, couple days off. Game off. It's not that packed too tight. I thought they had like a lot more games.
Just says 95 right now.
March looks a little bit
from
fatter.
7 to 22.
That's weird that they didn't put everything in, or try to put like everything in February.
I agree,
because they had like almost a full 3 weeks or a good 2.5. They
had
most
to
of
have
these guys
been,
are like 10 games or something like that.
Yeah,
like, you
but
definitely get most of them.
There's
and I guess
also,
they got 2, 4, 6. They did get the 7 I was talking about. They got to get at least 7 in.
Right,
and
but they the arenas,
8 or 9.
Some arenas though are booked, right?
Because they were
renting that ice to like music or to concerts or something probably. So no, I'm not 100% sure. We'll talk about more once we look deeper. This just got announced like yesterday. So
yeah, so we'll give you some. We'll try to scope out the schedule. I'll give you an idea who's got.
There you go for future watch. We got a little bit of tease for a future watch for Chase. He'll dive into some of these rescheduled games and talk about some nightmare games maybe or something.
Indeed.
But yeah, that's all we got for the news around the NHL, and we got enough time to do this segment for sure. So should we jump into our final segment? Cool. I'm gonna explain this quick first because I don't know. I saw this segment on our TSN board or whatever. They were discussing a Marner trade and what do they need to bring up the fact that they should trade Marner? They can't afford these guys. So they're discussing whether they think it's a good idea or not. And I brought it up to Chase and Jordan because we're like,
you can't afford those guys.
You can't afford, and you will not win that trade. You never will win that trade unless you get lucky as all hell. So,
like, you have to be perfect. You have to be perfect with your cap. You can't afford these guys, but you do have to be pretty perfect. Like,
exactly.
That's why the Richie thing's blown up. Like, this is not good.
Yeah, exactly. Like, on 90% of teams, $2.5 million on your fourth line wouldn't be a big factor. The Islanders spent $20 million last year.
When Hall does not very good for like 20 games, and we're all like, "Oh my god,
they can't afford $2 million
contract."
Yeah,
like what? Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. So what we did was, we became the Leafs GM for this trade deadline, and then after playoffs for the off season. And the scenario, the scenario we're doing is we're gonna buy at the deadline, and then pretend that we lost first round again because we think that's the only logical way they trade Marner, right?
Yeah,
if you lose first round and he does terrible, right? So that's the reason we're trading Marner. We know it's probably bad. We hope you kind of shred us on it because that's the idea of the segment on Leaf fans not overreacting about your players sometimes. So yeah, let's just dive right into it now and discuss the trade deadline, what we were doing for the Leafs.
Indeed.
I'll throw it to Jordan. You actually were the one who didn't delete on them the other day, so you have the exact one trade in front of you. What is the one trade we made at the deadline?
We made a trade for Colin Miller at 50% retained for Nick Ritchie, Pierre Engvall, and a 2022 second round pick.
Yeah. Funny enough, I like bringing up Engvall. This trade might be a little much, but I think that's the point of the trade because you always overpay at the deadline. I said, we were just talking about Engvall, who's been playing really well, so maybe you change that slightly, but
Engvall might be
the sweetener for the Richie deal. Might be the sweetener for the Richie deal and second for Miller. So
yeah, it might balance the Richie and Engvall, and then you're just kind of giving up a second round pick for half a team Miller. So
absolutely. So and then that gives you just an extra. And it gives you cap relief, and it just gives you an extra right-handed D-man for the playoff run. Yeah. Obviously, now this is where we fast forward into after the playoffs, and we lost. This is where we went on different routes. So we're gonna split up, go one person at a time. Who would like to go first?
I want to go first because I'm really interested to see
so guys. Chase will go first. Just like I said, this is going to be after they lose the first round and the off season leading into next year. So Chase, why don't you kick it away with what did you do this off season with a Marner trade?
Okay, so basically I'm looking before the draft here, and I go to Seattle. Seattle is my destination for Mitchell of the Marners.
Wow, that's insane.
It's so insane. But they have cap room, and I also have Peter Mrazek, who I probably don't need at that cap hit. So I'm packaging Marner and Mrazek together, which is like $14 million or something.
That's insane
per year.
So it's actually closer to 15.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's 14,700,000.
0.6 or
Point
7,
point
yeah.
yeah, point 7, I think.
So a lot of cheese, you can say. But I'm getting just as much cheese back in this trade
I
out of
hope so.
Seattle.
Oh, if you trade
Um,
for McCann back, Leaf fans are gonna cry.
It's literally what I'm doing. First guy on. Hook me up with that Jared McCann. If I'm giving you Mitch Marner, I'm getting McCann. There's no way I'm not.
That's so amazing. I
Or
love
I'm getting
that.
like a Beniers or something like that. We ain't
Right.
giving up Beniers. So
Absolutely.
Marner, Mrazek for Jared McCann. Big old ugly. I don't know how you feel about it. I don't hate it, but the Saskatchewan boys, Jaden Schwartz and 50% retained Jordan Eberle and
Oh,
a 2022 Seattle second round pick. I didn't even give him a first round pick. So I'll say this again. So Schwartzy, and McCann. So McCann has no
yeah.
contract. I end up signing him for 3 years at $5 million. Seems like a fair
Yeah,
little
that's a good
price
deal.
tag for him. Schwartzy's got that he'd have like one of the longest contract on the team out of your forward group. So he'd have 4 more years at $5.5 million, which is a little sketchy. But the reason I did this is because it was packaging Schwartz and Eberle together. The Saskatchewan boys, the thing the Leafs are missing.
And know what's crazy?
I'll tell you.
Saskatchewan grit.
No, what's amazing is I think how well that could gel if you just throw Tavares in the middle of that line.
Exactly. Hey,
and then you keep a Bunting, Matthews, and Willie line. Like,
yeah, I'll get into that.
I guess you'll get into that. I'm just overthinking it. How nice that sounds.
It's fine. So Everly at 2.75 for it's just 2 years. It would be the next year and the year after. So they retain like $5.5 million in total. Seattle. They give up a 2022 second round pick, which would be their own. Because then it actually pulls some value because this is supposed to be a pretty star-studded first round. So maybe you can squeeze another pretty decent player out of that. What they're going to get like third or fourth or fifth pick in the second round. So I still feel like you should be able
top
to get
10
something
at least
pretty great out of that, or in fact trade up
for a first. Yeah, never know. Maybe package your first and that second to move up in the first round for a better player. Like you never know. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah, exactly. So. Yeah, that's the basis of that trade. The only other trade I made, and I'm really interested to see what you guys think about Travis Dermott for Akil Thomas. Do you need to toss some picks in there or something, or is LA one? Apparently, Dermott and Sean Walker are buddies.
Okay.
So that's half the reason, and they kind of need the guy, and maybe they'll move on from Edler or Amada or whatever.
Yeah, they'll move on.
Is actually needed.
Maybe. You know? Yeah, I'm not against it by any means for him to have a chance because of it's just they have so many young guys like getting a chance that it seems cluttered.
They have a lot of young defensemen, exactly.
That's my only issue with it. But other than that, like I think it's fair value. If LA, it also depends on what LA does in the offseason too, right? So we could be looking at this in the offseason like this is a great deal.
Yeah, because to LA, like they have way too many they're not going to be able to play all these prospects. So I don't think it's a big deal for them to give up on Akil Thomas to get a Dermott who could really evolve into something in all reality. So,
I agree. I think that's fair. Yeah, I'm good with that trade.
Okay, so
I think it's a good
trade. Do you want me to go over that Marner trade again, or do we get the lineups or what?
So let me just say, so the Marner trade was half retained Eberle, second round pick 2022, Jaden Schwartz and McCann, 3 years, $5 million.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that is for Marner and Peter Mrazek.
Peter Mrazek, cool. Be intrigued to see what Seattle does with their goaltending situation after that.
Yeah, the idea would be that they might trade Trigger this trade deadline or something like that.
Right.
So
no. What's your lineups looking like then? Did you do any signings in the offseason too, and your RFA signings? So what do you got for us?
Basically, I signed I'll go to the defense first, and we'll go with Sandin and Liljegren. I want them to prove more, so I gave them $1 million each for 2 years.
Okay.
Because I think that gives them lots of time to prove who they are as players. and should give them. And obviously, like the big contracts come up, some contracts come up, and you'll have more time to, like your Muzzin and Brody contracts. Sorry, those are the
Right.
ones I meant to say. Those two come up, so you can move on or do what you need to do there. So real cheap deals. I don't know if they would they get more than $1 million?
I think they get a little bit more than a mil. Maybe a little bit. I went a different route, so I can't really say.
Okay,
not
no
much
problem.
different, but just slightly altered.
The only other signing I guess I would have made would be, or RFAs would have been Mikheyev. I signed him for 1 year at 1.85.
Yeah, I'd say that's maybe two.
I was gonna do 2 mil for a couple of years or 3 years. Maybe that works with him as well because that could help the team. Because like I said, I got McCann signed
if
for
you
3
could
years.
get him,
Maybe you can get him at that for 3 years.
I think it would be probably maybe a 2.2 for 2. Sounds like a good contract. Because if you're giving Richie 2.5 for 2 years, Mikheyev's better than Richie. I know he's not as big, but like, so that's why you go 2.2. But that's what.
So
it's pennies and dollars.
That's why I went with a safe 1 year, 1.85. Gets a little bit of a raise. See if you can do this again, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Who are you?
Show me one more time, and then you'll get it. And for sure.
And then I'll go to Spezza, Clifford, sign them on min league deals. Obviously, why not?
Yeah.
The boys. Also, I took Grice as my backup.
That's interesting.
Min league deal. That's what I was looking at. I'd sign 2 half decent min league deals for your backups. I don't think.
Well, maybe Justin Wool,
$1 million or something like that.
Maybe Justin Wool will be ready by then too. Like you never know.
Maybe you just sign Grice and then you just hope
have
that
your young guy
ready or something like that. Or like I said,
that'd be ideal.
Yeah. Either.
Anywho, let's get to the big contract. This is a tough one to make. Jack Campbell, I gave him $5 million for like 6 years because I think it's better to go long term and get that slight bit cheaper and possibly deal with this contract maybe not being great in 4 or 5 years and just hoping for the best because it's the best right now. In all reality, most goalies don't get much better than this, and he's played for 2 years now. Like we still don't. Like in the end of it, they're goalies. Hey, like how is this next 4 years gonna go? Like you can never tell. It's so dumb. I hate goalies for that, and it's why we don't pay him very much. But I think he's a cool guy. I think he'd stay. He wants to win. He loves being there. I think if you give him 6 years at $5 million, there's no way he doesn't accept. Is kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah, that's fair.
The other direction I was going was probably just like a $7 million for like 3-4 years to give him his money worth.
Yeah, but it's funny how you did your contract because it blends well with mine. I think it's a decent deal. Yeah, 6 years is a long time because it'll be like 36, 37 when it ends. But
so is Quick, and so is like most of these guys.
Absolutely.
So I guess it's kind of the same, right? I could give him an extra $500,000 or something, but instead of doing that, you can actually roster 23 players instead of
instead of 12 forwards and pretty much seemingly so my team is you're able to run an actual team too.
So my actual lineups, let's get to them. I got Schwartzy playing with Matthews and Nylander because I think he'd bring that edgy side of the game to really bring out the best out of those two guys.
That's fair.
My other line is McCann, Tavares, and Eberle. Just so then Tavares is going to keep producing. Because if you put him with guys like that, like there's no excuse sort of thing. Hey, like if you put him with like Mikheyev and Kerfoot or something, you can be like, it's okay, man. We're not playing you with like great players, like. But I think if you give them a McCann and an Eberle, like it's like I like what you were saying before with Schwartz and Eberle, you could do that. But
that works as well. Yeah, I also like what you're doing with Schwartz playing with Matthews and Nylander. That could be really sneaky good. It could bring out the best of Schwartz. I also wonder about McCann playing up there and doing that because of just the sheer potential of having that top line.
I think the wingers are Schwartz and Nylander, and then McCann and Eberle. And you play them with whatever center. And I don't think you go wrong, right?
No, exactly. So you can, they would move it around anyways if they did it. But
other than that, third line is, I guess you could put like a Bunting, Mikheyev, Kerfoot together. and then your fourth line is like Camp, Stimmons, and Spezza.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, that's where I went. Their defense is all the same. I never traded Hall or anything. I got him playing on the bottom pairing with Sandine, Muzzin with Liljegren, and Brody and Riley.
Nice. Good team. Yeah, but like I like it. Obviously, doesn't look as good the Leafs now, and like that's the difference. I get that's the point we're trying to make, and like I'm not. All of ours are gonna be like, oh, this doesn't look as good as it did the year before. Like I already look at mine and I'm like, wow, this sucks compared to having Marner. Yeah. But yeah, it's
I don't
it's
mind
interesting.
It for Toronto. I think it fills out the roster decently. It does. You're still gonna be cap strong. It's just there's no getting really out
there's
of it.
There's just more depth,
but you at least get that more depth. You get to force Matthews and Tavares to be the best they can be, and I think that's. I think it's better. No,
it's like a decent.
Like, Crosby and Malkin, they haven't had a Crosby or Malkin to play with. Like, you don't need technically a Crosby or Malkin to play with.
Nope, that's fair. It's a good team. Like I like it. Obviously, like if you have to trade Marner and that's your final decision is trading Marner, I like it. It's just the whole trading Marner away is just I'm looking at my trade more and more, and I'm like, this sucks. I hate this. I hate making this trade.
Yeah, no, I don't.
Because this trade doesn't make sense.
Marner. I would way rather go with like a Nylander swap and get like just McCann or just Eberle or something like that.
Yeah,
or,
I'd rather I'd rather move something
like
I'd rather move all their extra dead weight contracts with Mrazek and such out.
So. Real quick on the sensibility for Seattle, Marner playing with Beniers, they're getting a high pick. They could go with a Logan Cooley.
They have guys to build around too. Like
I think
superstar.
Real smart for them. So
yeah, I like it. What do you think, Jordan?
Yeah, no, I think like you said, it's real smart for them. It gives them a cornerstone piece, besides Owen Power.
Yeah, or Beniers, you mean?
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
Beniers. But yeah, no, that's awesome. So good trade, very good depth. You made the team better because, like, I mean, I'll tell you one thing: your team is probably better than mine. But.
Yeah, no, I thought I got a pretty damn good haul in a sense. Like, it's not great. Like, your best ones are McCann and a 2022 second round pick. Like, I don't know if it's enough to move the needle for Toronto, but let's be serious. Marner's got it's like 3 years left or something at like 10 mil or something. Like, what was the contract again? How many years is it? It's only 3 more years.
Yeah,
they'd only have Marner for sure for 3 years.
Yeah,
so it's kind of sketchy.
It's kind of sketchy for Seattle in a way. They'd have to like show progression by year 3 to get him. But yeah, it makes it hard for every team to trade for him and give up enough. But yeah, it's a great team. Jordan.
Yeah, I really like that one.
Jordan, do you want to give your team?
Yeah, I'll go for it.
Sweet. Let's see. What do you got for us?
All right. So obviously to kick it off, we got Mitch Marner being traded. I have packaged him and a 4th round pick, and I'm sending them to the Devils.
Yes, I'm so happy we have all different teams. I was so worried we were going to pick the same team. But that's awesome. All right, what are you getting from the Devils? That's interesting.
So the Devils are sending back Thomas Tatar and PK Subban at 50% retained.
Is that it?
Yeah, for Mitch Marner.
No.
And a 4.
I'm going to say right now, not even close. That's not even close. No. Subban
isn't. I was trying to make
it
so like Marner had low value, so.
No, it would have to be Eichel size haul. Have to, okay. I think without question.
Drop the pick on our side and add a pick on theirs.
Add a first at least. I think you'd have to add their first, honestly, to get it back. Okay. What else trades you got with it to showcase your team? So, like, let's just say they get picks with it to make it.
Yeah, we'll say
or prospects or
Subban and
picks and prospects.
Yeah.
So what did you do to make your team for the season?
So I had 2 other small trades I made. I called up Buffalo again, and I was like, you know what? That first deal with Colin Miller, that went really smoothly. Let's talk business again. I sent them Peter Mrazek and a 2023 3rd-round pick for Dustin Tokarski and a 2022 4th.
That's amazing. I
Yeah.
love it.
Good. Yeah, the DT, that boy.
DT.
Yeah, so I figure Buffalo upgrades their pick and they get Mrazek.
They get they upgrade their goalie too.
Yeah, I would say Mrazek is better than Tokarski.
If he can be healthy, absolutely.
Exactly, a healthy Mrazek. Exactly.
And they have the money to spend. Yeah. The only downside is like with I didn't poke holes in Chase's, so I won't do it with you. But like he does have a modified no trade, so trading to Seattle and Buffalo would be pretty tough. But you never know what could happen in a year, so
yeah, maybe it Buffalo
changes, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, but yeah, what else do you got? You said you had 2 trades.
The final
right?
trade
your other one?
is with Philadelphia. I'm sending Philadelphia 2 defensemen, Justin Hall and Travis Dermott, for Derek Brassard, Nick Seeler, and a 2022 third.
Oh, holy
a
fuck.
bit of a cap dump.
You're really like offloading everyone to.
Yeah.
You're like
That
almost doing like a retool thing. That's interesting. So what do you got for your team and some signings and stuff you made?
So here's the lineup. So we've got Nylander, Matthews, and Bunting. And then Mikheyev, Tavares, and Thomas Tatar.
What's Mikheyev making? What did you sign him to?
Right. I haven't said my contracts yet.
Well, just do it while you go through the lineup of names that you had to sign. So what do you got for Mikheyev's money?
2 at 2.
Yep. I think 2, maybe 2.22, like, or add an extra 200K. Like it could be like a little extra more, but that's just negotiating.
Somewhere
so
between
that's fair.
2 and 2.5.
Yeah, that's good. Chase, you good with it so far? He's muted, so just keep going.
I'm blowing away again.
My bad, boys. No, 2 and 2 is fine, obviously. All right, we were talking about that.
And then the third line, I've got Kerfoot, Kasha, and Clifford.
What'd you sign Kasha to?
I signed Kasha 3 years at 1.75.
Yeah, I wonder if that isn't enough for that long term. Like, cause I am odd about it. That's why we'll get into it with mine because I want to debate Kasha's contract. When I bring mine up, because that's one I struggled with. Yeah, because he's been really, really good. You're not bringing Clifford back?
Probably not.
Yeah, that's fair. So who's your fourth line then?
It's Wayne Simmons, David Kampf, and Derek Brassard with Spezza as the 13th.
As your extra, him and Brassard kind of switching in and out.
Yeah,
nice.
Pretty much. Whichever one's feeling better or looking better.
Right. What's your defense? What's it looking like now with both two guys
we've got
on?
Jack Campbell and DT in net.
Yeah, love it.
Top line to TJ Brody and Morgan Riley.
Yeah.
A second pair of either Liljegren or PK. I figure that they could probably share the minutes.
Right, yeah. See whatever fits best.
Yeah. And then a third
What did you sign PK to, by the way? Because he's up this year.
Was a tough one for me. I gave him 2 years at $4 million.
Might even be able to get it cheaper.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe.
What do you think, Chase? What do you think Subban's worth? You think he's worth like 2.5, 3 for a year or two?
Oh God. Yeah, I think you got to give him 3.
Yeah,
for 2. 2 years.
I'm not really sure. Like he might be able to fit. Nah, I don't know.
I don't know if
I don't think there'd be enough people that want him for him to push up to 4. But I think a 3, like that's not really far off. In all reality, if you get a couple people in there, all of a sudden that 3 mil might turn into 3.5 or something or 4. So it's hard to say. I'd like it to be 2 mil. If I was a GM,
honestly, I'd like him for 2. He's from. He's from Toronto, isn't he? Or like Ontario or whatever. I'm pretty
sure. Ontario.
He might be able to take even less. He might take that 2.5, 2.7 for 2 years.
Yeah, looking for a bounce back.
And playing for his.
Be able to get him mad cheap just
for
because he wants to prove himself. Hey.
So yeah, you can go many ways about
it. It's a good idea.
He's from Toronto.
Yeah, exactly. So if he wants to come back, he's made a lot of money. He'll take some. So
yeah, exactly. It's not like he's not.
Yeah, exactly. So he's coming off a $9 million contract. I'm pretty sure you could take a little bit of a discount.
Yeah.
So what do you got on the left then? Muzzin and Sandin.
Yeah.
What'd you sign Sandin to?
Sandin, I gave him.
And Liljegren, obviously. What'd you sign?
Yeah. I think it's the same. I gave both of them just a year at 1.5.
Yeah, that's. I think that's more accurate.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't know
money.
about giving these guys money yet. Like, you might as well wait. You do like
the NHL money, yeah.
If they can't do what some of these Tampa Bay guys have done and sign like a $750K deal for 3 years for no reason, like these guys can sign a 925 for a year or two. Is what I'm thinking. That's why I went with a mill.
Difference
I
is for me,
like, yeah,
these
if you
guys
really
are
look at it,
leaned on more. These guys are way leaned on more and have a lot more.
they will be leaned on more if they do it next couple of years. That's the whole early stage contract thing is, do you give him money because he hasn't proven it? We haven't seen him do it for years yet or whatever. Hey, that's all I'm getting at. But,
I get
no,
that.
I feel they will be very important and they should be worth more than 1.5 after the next couple of years. But yeah, I just went with this because
you're gonna hate mine then.
You then get like a good idea of who they are, and you can give them a real paycheck.
See,
at,
and
with,
I looked
23, 24 years old. And
I looked at that. Trust me, I went and looked at comparables for these two for like an hour straight. And I looked at Lindholm, I looked at Theodore, like I looked at a couple guys, and all of them signed a cheap deal like that, like a 900K. Also, the cap was a little lower, so that's perspective I took into it. So okay, around a mil for a season or two at least. And then I took into a factor of they didn't blow up until after they signed that contract, and like blow up in the sense of like being an everyday NHLer even.
Yeah, exactly.
These guys,
call these guys like every day.
At the end of this year, I would, based on what the Leafs defense is, they're everyday NHLers. After what I've seen, they're good enough to be in the NHL for 82 games a year.
For sure. But like, you don't know what you're gonna get truly out of them yet. I think so.
Yeah, but that's why I don't
money yet.
But I don't think by giving them like an extra 700K, I don't think that's like killing you. It's not like I'm saying pay them $5 million.
It is for me in my cap situation that I got going on.
You also got a lot of different stuff.
Yeah,
than that, right? You went to try and go for it like now. Window is now to next year, right? Whereas mine pushes the window down a year or two at least. So
I see.
I definitely say I'm retooling.
Yeah, you're definitely retooling
because I want to bring in some grit into this team.
I'm trying.
That makes sense why you have the extra money to be able to do it.
I'm doing a competitive retool. Is what I'm calling it, where I'm signing guys to just good deals and trying to get some youth in there to like try and so eventually I can have a Tampa team where a Braden Point-esque player comes out of nowhere to play with my Stamkos and Kucherov, which is Willie and Matthews. So that's what I went for with it. So I guess Jordan, that's the end of your team, presumably. So.
Yeah, the last contract is just Jack Campbell. I gave him a 5 at 5.
Yeah, so I think that's pretty even. I'll jump into mine. I'll start with the Marner trade, as we all have. I traded him to the LA Kings because I thought the LA Kings have the most assets they can give up that can play today as well as
you wanted
future.
Sean Durzi back or what?
I didn't. Funny enough, I did. Part of me did, but I was like, he's a little offensive and I want a little more defensive. I went Sean Walker. Yeah. I went Mitch Marner and Justin Hall going to LA for Sean Walker, Victor Arvidsson, Gabriel Velarde, his rights, and a 3rd round pick. I don't know if that's enough. I was thinking like maybe it needed a 2nd from LA instead, but it's a good draft. So maybe a 3rd. I don't know. Do you think that's fair? Walker so Marner and Hall for Walker, Victor Arvidsson, Gabriel Velarde, and a 3rd.
Oh yeah, that's not.
It's not awful.
Those are pretty nice pieces.
Well, like Velarde's a nice piece. Like, Sean Walker, you know what you're getting from Sean Walker. Victor Arvidsson can score 20, especially with skilled players. He's on a good cap hit. They're all on good cap hits. Velarde had to sign, but
Victor Arvidsson brings you that
tenacity.
I kind of was the reason why I took him was because of that sort of tenacity.
So that's where I kind of looked at scoring and tenacity and offense, and you get that right-handed second D you desperately needed.
Velarde's pretty pretty
And
nice pick.
and Velarde is a nice player to get in your forward group too. And
Because like out of the guys, like even Byfield and stuff and Turcotte, like we know more about what Velarde is going to turn into than we do about these other guys. So
and I wanted Turcotte at first, but I was like, no, I gotta go with the lesser player than Turcotte.
It might be too much in a sense, just because like
that's fair.
Sean Walker's value right now is very high in a sense because of just where he's morphed into, and like we might not. The next time he steps on the ice, we're not really sure who we're getting. Are we getting somebody real close to Doughty, or is he going to take a step back and start being an inconsistent sort of guy, only good for periods of time sort of thing?
Right.
So it's probably a good idea to make the trade now. You might win this trade because Sean Walker could evolve a little bit.
That's exactly why I like looked at it, and he's hurt for the whole season right now. So that's why I'm kind of leaning on as
Velarde for Marner. Yeah, Velarde and Arvidsson for Marner probably ain't gonna do it.
That's not quite. So okay, so maybe I take away the third.
That's crazy. It's a
question trade.
Guys.
Yeah. So I'll take away the third. Then it'll be Marner and Hall, because you also got to think they're getting Hall back, who is an NHL right-hand defenseman. They can afford the $2 million. So that's but then Sean Walker for Arvidsson and Velarde. Just no pick involved, which is totally fine for me. Because I didn't use that pick for anything.
It could be a pick. Like I said, it's
nice group of dudes. I was looking at Marner. Like Marner can be a cornerstone, and they got the center. The future center's coming. Imagine how good LA could be if they add a player like Marner, and they gave up like 2 roster players this year, technically.
Yeah.
Because Velarde's not playing right now. He's in the AHL.
You said it even before. Like, I love Velarde and stuff, but like in all reality, like I know they love Velarde too. But when you have Byfield and you have Kopi, is Velarde and Turcotte stuck in the middle? Yeah, and Turcotte. Like he's gonna get stuck in the middle.
And
one of these guys is gonna get stuck in the middle. So
yeah, exactly. So that's where my thought instantly went. Velarde could eventually be that second line center behind Matthews. Really take over that Tavares. And then I made another trade for cap reasons, because I made a lot of like signings, and I made a lot more term signings to try and give us a couple of years to keep the team. I had to trade Kerfoot and Dermott. I traded them in the same trade. Don't know about this trade. I just want anything that's
Dermott, because he got the Sean Walker, his best buddy.
I know, I didn't know that until now.
Yeah, I know. I like randomly was looking online. I think I was like destinations for Travis Dermott, and the one thing was like LA. His best buddy. I was like, cool.
The only downside is for me is like he's Dermott would be a 7th D, and I can get someone better and cheaper, so I did.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what you do. Dermott ends up being like the 7th D man on this team. Like,
pretty much.
Like I've said, you gotta move on from this guy. He's not gonna
eventually
find a spot on this team unless you move Muzzin now and he starts taking over that role. Like,
or as a third line, and then Sandin's your second pair guy. Yeah, exactly. So but yeah, so I trade Kerfoot and Dermott to Minnesota. You guys tell me if this is too much, because I look at it might be, but you never know. I got Ryan O'York in a third from Minnesota.
No. For Kerfoot?
Is that too much? For Kerfoot and Dermott? Keep in mind, Kerfoot... Okay, maybe a second and O'Rourke? That's why.
Let me look at O'Rourke. I was looking at this.
He's a first round pick, I'm pretty sure. Or a second round pick.
Yeah?
Like he's a top pick. Like, or a higher, not a top pick, but he's definitely a higher pick than people think. He's either second or third round pick. Second round pick. 39th overall, 2020. So he's a real prospect. Like, it's not just and he's 19. He is left-handed, but they have so many defensive prospects like Lambos, O'Rourke, Callan Addison. I'm missing another lefty who's really big for this
he's
team.
A Sioux Greyhound, yeah.
Damon Hunt. So yeah, and he's a Sioux Greyhound, so like that just fits the Leafs perfect.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like I said, I'm willing to and all.
That's not bad. Hey,
okay.
At least he's a higher touted prospect.
Yeah, he's
third. You're cap dumping as well.
Yes, I'm cap dumping. That's a big portion of it as well. So it could be a second. If you'd rather me get a second than a third, then that's cool. Obviously it's better. So
Yeah, that's just another one of those things where all of a sudden people start saying, "Hey, what do you mean you're trading Kerfoot? I'll give you this. I'll give you this," and then all of a sudden
Right.
other deals might make more sense. But
Yeah,
no, I
that's
like
true.
it.
I would definitely sell to the highest bidder, but I just need picks and prospects to get my point across. That's all I want is cap.
Yeah, no reality.
So
Cap
so
up,
it can be any
it's
form
good
of
for
a
that,
trade.
right?
Yeah, exactly. So now I'm gonna go with my team from the goaltender, defense, the forward, because the forward group gets a little messy because the lines I have interchanging every like game almost till you figure it out. And a lot of extra guys. So on defense or on goal, I kept Peter Mrazek. Actually, I was able to keep him. I want to see him and Campbell as a duo. I know it's a lot of money, but it still gives you the option to trade him away. You get picks and prospects for Kerfoot, whereas Mrazek, I feel like you would get nothing for him. Whereas I can afford to keep him, so I will. I don't love it.
Yeah, because
it's just short
Mrazek,
term.
Well, Mrazek can play good, and when he plays
can.
good, you might be able to get your value back and
Yeah.
actually be able to make a move in the off season or something.
And also, it just I don't like the idea of trading a guy a year after I gave him that contract, like the Leafs give him that contract when he's given a no move as well, so or a modified
no
move.
doubt.
So it just looks bad. So I'd like to wait an extra year. I gave Campbell. I was looking at. I didn't see some of the stats of recently he's come down to earth, and so I just see his overall. So I overpaid him, I think, a little. But I also looked at Grubauer's contract, and he's a Vezina candidate right now, Jack Campbell. If he finishes the year that way, he's going to get around 6. So I gave him 6 for, I believe it was 4 or 5 years. One of the two. I can't remember how many years, whatever fits him best, I guess. I gave him 6 mil, like I said, because Grubauer got 6 mil in the open market. Maybe you could lower it to 5.5 or 5.7 because of that, but I just wanted to compare it that way, right?
Yeah, like the highest I could give him is like a 5.7, and
Yeah.
that would be because I would not be able to have more than 2 scratched players.
Right.
So I could go that route. I did a 6 for 5 or 6 years at 5 mil. Could do like a 5 at 5.7, or maybe you could drop it to 4 or something. But
right. Yeah, no.
It's how do you not give, like I said, how do you not give this guy $7 million?
It's hard, right? Like he's been so impressive for this team. So yeah, no, I love it. Going on to defense, the top line stays the same. It's Riley, Brody. Second pair, Muzzin and Walker. I think that would be a great shutdown pair. Like such a competent shutdown pair. You got 2 years left of Sean Walker at 2.6. Like that's fantastic of a player. And then this is where Chase might hate me because of the contracts. I paid Sandin and Liljegren a little bit, but I locked them up for 3 years. Each. I gave Sandin 2.2, and I gave Liljegren 1.6. I know it's paying them, but I locked them up, so that's my logic.
Now that you bring that up, sorry, it's just that reminds me of what we were talking about with RFAs early on in the year. Like, let's compare these guys to Robert Thomas and Yamamoto and these guys.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, exactly.
They're in that group. Yeah, they're defensemen, but 3 years for 2.5 or 2 mil, like
sign them. If you can get under $3 million for a long-term deal and they sprout into a top pairing guy and you can have a run, at least one run with them under a good contract, then you do it. So that, and then plus,
it's got to be 2 years. It has to be 2 years because that Brody and Muzzin contract.
And that's exactly it. I gave him 3, so that gives there's 4 or 5 technically big contracts that come off the books on this team the year before Sandin and Liljegren are up. So you still got time to work with. So that's why I went with it. That's why I emphasized paying them a little bit. You're paying them early, but you're getting a good contract year 2 and 3, hopefully. And then my 7th D, I signed Ben Hutton to $900K. I don't know if he'll sign for more. I ummed and odd because he's a really good defenseman, but he never seems to get a free agent payday. So I'm just going to continue the trend of signing him to a cheap 7th D man.
Yep.
But I think he's worth more than that because I watched him play for Vegas a couple games and he's awesome. But I know other teams might not, so whatever.
But what defenseman on that team doesn't look good?
Yeah, exactly. That's fair. And then for forwards here, I went this is where it kind of goes everywhere with lines. You can do whatever you want. I got Bunting, Matthews, Nylander on the first line. Just safe to go with what you know for the most part. Second line, I got Gabe Vilardi. See if he can do it on the wing with Tavares and Victor Arvidsson. If he can't, I made a couple other signings and youth players of young players getting ready. So just an option. Third line, this is my shutdown line. I got David Kampf, Andre Kasha, and Johan Larsson. Third line who can shut down and score. Now, Johan Larsson, I signed him to a 2 years, 2.2.
He's fire, buddy.
Awesome in Arizona. Yeah.
There, dog.
Yeah, man.
Good. He's like, I think he scored a couple of goals in that win.
Yeah, he did. He's got 17 points in like 20 some games for the Coyotes this year.
He's their leading point getter in the last in this month, I think, or something like that.
He's been amazing. So I just like the 2-year deal with him, short term. He can play up and down the lineup as a scorer, as a defensive player, like whatever you want. Now Kasha, I ummed and awed about this, and he makes like nothing now, but his last real contract before his contract or his concussion issues happened was like 1.6. So I thought it has to be higher than that, and I wanted to sign him longer than 1 year. Because he's 26, turning 27. He's playing awesome for the Leafs. So I signed him for 2 years, 2.25. I don't know how I feel about that. But
yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about old policy.
I like him on this team. I don't know about 2.2. Maybe it's a little high, but
something told me that he's just gonna go sign and play in America. That's my thought.
He's an RFA still. So you have his rights, so you got to try to keep him. Because Boston didn't qualify him, he's got an extra qualifying year, which is really interesting. That turns to 27. So the Leafs have control. So that I just tried to sign him something that's fair that he would come back to. And then for my fourth line and my extra guy, these can all interchange however what you want. But I got Wayne Simmons. Obviously, Jason Spezza signed to Leagueman, and I signed Sam Carrick as my fourth line center, who's playing in Anaheim at one year, 1.4. He is doing awesome stuff in Anaheim, and
yeah, I really like that one.
Yeah, he's really good at just getting in the right areas. He plays gritty. He's everything you kind of need for fourth line center, and if you can get him under $2 million, even if it's a 1 year deal, I think you do it. So I went with a very young, balanced team. It's a worse forward group, but an improved defense. You get to keep your 2 good goalies as long as they stay healthy. Then you got great tandem, and you got future potential. As my 13th forward, I didn't even bring him up, is Nick Robertson. Like, you guys didn't even put him in your team. He could make the team next year easily. So I got him as my 13th guy, just as an extra player. I signed Wayne Simmons to Leagueman. He's on my taxi squad with Kyle Rao and some extra guys, but yeah, so I just try to go with a balanced team. What do you guys?
I like those deals.
Yeah,
my team would definitely be a little bit better with Nick Robertson popping off, or even Amirov.
Or Amirov even coming in.
These guys, who else did I steal? Like, I traded for that Akil Thomas. Not that he's been popping off this year, but you never know, right?
No, Toronto exactly. Joey Anderson, like, he could still make the NHL this year. Like, he's right there to making it. He's a younger guy. So I tried to leave it open-minded for training camp for young guys come in and prove themselves. Like Gabe Vilardi, like I signed him to a 1 year, $950K contract. Just to prove yourself on your new team. And we'll go from there. And so just the route I went. This is the best way I could see the Leafs team going, in a balanced route with getting rid of Marner, but I still look at it and I don't like it. So
yeah, because you're kind of building, and obviously they're not trying to build right now, and it would be a little heartbreaking to see the team in more of a build sort of strategy.
Exactly, right? Like, and it's not like it's a long-term build. It's a 1 or 2 year extra build where you might not try and go for the cup that year, but the year after is where you can really look at it seriously.
Yeah, exactly.
So
exactly. Hey,
that's where I lean towards, and I still got the best part is I kept certain players with money that are able to be traded away for the most part. Like Mrazek, he'll be easier to trade away with one less year of a deal or half a year less of a deal or something by next year. So, like, I just tried to give myself the best opportunity to get rid of players. And then same with Muzzin. If we're not feeling that he's the guy, next year we can move him.
Yeah, no, I fully agree with that on my team too. Like, I still got Kerfoot. I still got Paul. You know, I still got some extra guys to.
Yeah, I wanted to keep Kerfoot, by the way. I really didn't want to trade Kerfoot. Yeah. But it's either him or Mrazek, and I can get more value for Kerfoot.
Let's be serious. There's two directions with a Marner trade. It's this type of quick little rebuild, or it's kind of what I did, and you fill your cap back up with
legit
a couple extra forwards.
Depth.
You know,
because
I got three. I got three playing. Like, I got a line
forwards. Yeah, you got.
I got a line for Mitch Marner. So
yeah, that's awesome. And see, I tried. Like, I got basically a line. I got a right D, which is as good as a line, and Victor Arvidsson Velarde. So.
Yeah, but what I am getting at is that I may have got a line, but I also have Schwartz, an injury-prone player at 29 years old for the next 4 years at $5.5 million.
Goal scoring wise, and know what, Eberle, like, when he's on the hot seat, he struggles.
Eberle at 2.75 can't go wrong.
That's true.
That's the way I saw it. And it's only 2 years, but yeah, no, I feel you. In all reality, very up and down. But like I said, that's why if this is Matthews and Tavares, this is star power. They don't need another star to play with. They can play with Eberle and Schwartz and McCann and make those guys better instead of Marner instead of having the two-headed monster with Marner and Matthews sort of thing, and then having another monster in Tavares and almost Nylander, you know?
Right.
So it's not a terrible idea to split up one of the four. I don't like Marner ever leaving, but Nylander's one that I would consider. But I don't know how it would help you much more. The
worst part is the obvious one for the team is Tavares.
Offensive group. It's more the dynamic of your offensive group. If you want to change that, then you do trade Nylander or Marner, and you go and get some more beefier guys like a Touch, you know, like that type of player. Like, let's get some angrier Mark Stones in here or something instead of our point producing forward group we have. So.
Yeah, I don't get me wrong, I do not think they'll trade Marner. But for you Leaf fans that listening, I encourage you to listen in depth to those, because if you hated all of them, that's the point of trading Marner. Your team's going to get worse by trading Marner. Like, I did my absolute best to try and do something decent for the Leafs so you're not losing the trade instantly. But, even at mine, I couldn't do anything. Chase did everything, make the team super deep for this year's run. Still probably doesn't look as good as with Marner on it. Jordan went for a full retool rebuild, short-term rebuild.
It may not look as good, because I could trade other things and not trade Marner. The other things that I could bring in could probably look just as good as what I made.
And that's the point we're trying to make, right?
But go ahead.
It's with Marner in it. That's having Marner and Matthews. Like I said, you could not have a left winger, and it feels like it's 5-on-5 still, the way they control the puck. So I think you can figure something out cap-wise. I look at mine. With some of the signings I made in just cheap deals. Johan Larsson, 2 years, $2 million. I'm not going to break the bank for these guys, and I don't have Marner on the team, and I still didn't. Just do that. Keep getting these deals. You work on upgrading your defense in some way, but
there's a lot of extra shekels that it may only be $1 million here, $500,000 here, but if you trade all these guys in the off season and get in for sure quality pieces, it's going to look better than my Schwartz, McCann, and Eberle in a couple years.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Future wise, ours, the only one that could potentially completely benefit the Leafs in the future, but you're gonna go through pain for a couple years, is Jordan's. Where you went all out for the rebuild pretty much, or big retool, and it's a way. It's definitely a way you could do it. It would be painful, but that's the only way I think you could win a Marner trade.
But it's not a bad idea. You're sad.
Yeah, that's stuck in that position where you're unable to get through the playoffs. Then if you need to do it,
that's exactly the point too.
These are all different options.
I like that we all went different options too. Chase went now. I went retool. Jordan went rebuild. So I like that. It just shows that any facet you're gonna struggle without Marner. You will struggle without trading Mitch Marner.
And I don't really think there's a way of winning that trade.
There isn't, frankly. And that's exactly the point we wanted to get across to fans who are like, just trade him. He's awful, blah, blah, we can get so much more for 11 mil. Yeah, you can, but is it going to be as good?
Yeah. That's the thing, right? Is that 11 million, somebody has to pay it.
Yeah, and like, so, yeah. Not everyone can have a Brad Marchand on $6 million. Like, okay, it sucks, but you got to live with it. You got to keep your best players, and they're still only like 24, 25. Yeah, exactly. Like, Jesus Christ, guys, League fans. I know you don't win first rounds like ever and don't know how, but eventually you have to. It's a numbers game.
Yeah. I know, but it's getting it's getting antsy. Like,
I understand it.
You got 2 years left with Matthews. You only got 3 with Tavares. Like, everything's getting a little sketchy. It's all UFAs.
Yeah, and I'm not opposed to making a big move. I just
getting worried and thinking about it and talking about it's not a bad idea, because it
sparks something.
You can do it.
It sparks something, but you got to be 100% sure this team isn't going to be doing anything. Because if Marner leaves and goes and wins and dominates, you're going to be laughed at the whole time. And I know GMs worry about that, and you shouldn't as much, but you got to be 100% sure to be trading a player away like that. 100%. Not 99.9, 100% sure.
Yeah, like Marner on Seattle would be just outstanding for that organization. Marner on the Devils would be that. What did I talk about in the offseason? They should go ahead and trade for Gaudreau now.
Yeah, exactly.
Because why wouldn't you? You might as well. Like, you if you can sign those guys and keep everybody, you'll be super good.
Super good in 2 years.
You ever need to be, you know. So
and then LA.
Yeah, LA.
Like that would make them stupid Jesus good. Christ. They already are good. Yeah, so
that would just cut down the rebuild time by
It's done. It's done. Yeah, rebuild's done. If Cal Peterson can be a legit goalie and stuff like that, like if their goaltending figures itself out, they're a legit NHL team with a big trade like Marner in, and not changing players off your team so drastically. So
once again, we'll really stab the point into your heart here that, like, it sounds like it'd be real promising everywhere else. I'm not sure how promising it would be
in Toronto
on the Leafs side.
Yeah,
if everybody wants you to trade Marner.
Yeah, and all the other teams want that exactly, right? So they're probably feeding the headline so that Dubas gets pressured to trade him away.
Yeah, it's the media, dog.
Yeah, man.
Whoever's got the money.
Yep. So, but anyways, that's our final segment. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Go follow us on our social medias on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at The Couch on Ice. Do you guys have any final points before we close off this podcast?
I don't know, man. Why is Chris Kreider so good? This guy.
Yeah, true. Why is Chris Kreider so good? Yeah. And why can't the NHL pick all-star teams? But anyways, that'll be it. Anyways, that'll be it for this podcast.
No.
Why are reporters in Edmonton turning into assholes? But for now, we'll catch you guys next week. Next week's podcast. We'll catch you later. Bye, guys.
Peace.